Live from the Schmoes Know Network studio in Los Angeles, California, it's the Schmoes Know Movie Show. Tonight's guest, Love and Hip Hop Hollywood Stephaune Wallace. From the upcoming DC Movie News show, Adam Gertler. And from the Marvel Movie News, our very own Matt Key. Tonight, the ultimate Schmoedown, featuring Darth Harloff versus the greatest dancer in the entire world, Josh the Wildman Macuga. Here are your hosts, Christian Harloff, Mark Ellis, and Alicia Malone.
Wow, what a spastic yet energetic intro by the former employee of the show, Cobster, our associate producer. You gotta admit, it was like a mixture of like Roz from Monsters Inc. and a couple other things.
I'm gonna tell you exactly what that voice was. That was the voice that when you're 10 years old and there's a stranger knocks at the door and nobody else is home, that's the voice that you give to try to sound like an adult. Hey, get out of here, yo! There's an adult home.
I didn't order any pizza. Hello, Schmoeville. Well, it is the Schmoes Know Movie Show. I'm Christian Harloff.
Hey,
Mark Ellis here.
Mark Ellis. I'll say my name. You got it. You know, we haven't been in the studio together in a while, so there's a reason why we're going to have some sort of chemistry mishaps at some point during the show.
Right.
I was out a couple weeks ago.
Yes.
You were out last week.
Yes.
And it's good to have you back, buddy.
It's good to be back.
Where were you?
It's good to be back. So we had a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun watching and listening to you guys.
Did you actually get to watch it?
I did. And you know what I watched? I watched the Ultimate Schmoedown last week.
Good. It was a good game.
Oh, if I was talking to Mark Riley, I don't know if I would get that opinion. I'd have to bring it up here. A lot of controversy in that round.
I think that the Ultimate Schmoedown is predicated upon controversy. It thrives on that beast. And last week was a prime example of how you can have monkeys thrown into the wrench. You can have controversy, and yet justice will prevail. Because I think we all know Mark Riley deserved to win last week's battle.
He did, but it sure seemed like there was a lot of, it seemed like almost like a sabotage at one point, because like he got a question right about Friday the 13th, and they said he got it wrong, and that was the point. Then, I don't know, I have to look. Apparently, I don't know. I have to look. The fans are saying
what are you talking about?
The fans are saying JTE got 5 questions in the second round.
Oh, really? How many fans are saying that?
A lot.
A lot?
A lot.
I need a number, guy. You saw one tweet.
I know, I saw a lot.
This is what happens. Is that Christian will read some sort of random thing that comes up in our account, and then he calls me frantic. He's like, Ellis, all
right, fine. Well, let me ask you this then.
Ellis, is Getty really your grandmother?
Well, wait a minute.
That's one person.
Okay, then let's get here. So let's go past that one person. Then you get into round 3. Okay.
Ooh, that was a good one.
Mark Riley, editor-in-chief of Schmoes.com, who posts a lot of different comic book stories, pulls comic book movies.
Thank you.
Not one question was ready for comic book movies. What happened there?
Yeah, the well was empty. Well, I'll tell you what happened is that you decided to skip town and not help me prepare trivia questions and just flipping the script a little bit. We had a contest last week. We actually gave away a Ripped Apparel t-shirt to whoever came up with the funniest answer as to where in the world Christian Harloff was last week. And now that all that fun and games is over, where were you, buddy? Your wife missed you. I missed you. Your daughter had no idea where you were. Do you want to say anything to Schmoeville?
I do want to say something. I'd like to introduce today's guest. Joining us from AfterbuzzTV, I met this guy not too long ago. We were at it was meeting a bunch of new hosts. That's the beauty about being here now in this network, is that you meet a bunch of new people, a bunch of new hosts. And Stephaune Wallace here. How are you, man?
Yes, sir.
Doing good. Glad to be here.
So we were talking, and we're like, dude, why don't you come on and share your opinion about some of the news? And so why don't you tell Schmoeville a little bit about yourself, if you can.
Like you said, I host here at AfterbuzzTV. I also run a nonprofit. I feed like 400 people on Skid Row every Tuesday.
Wow.
Awesome.
Oh my God! You brought in one of these good human beings. I'm always warning you about.
He's an angel, and you probably would forget his name if he was in an old time movie, wouldn't you? Like last week. What happened there? It was Clarence.
I panicked.
Yeah, I think that's a great thing that you do. Not only with AfterbuzzTV, but again, like you said, you feed a lot of homeless people, and on behalf of Cobster and Cody, they say thank you for making their bellies full every week. Where are you originally from Southern California, or are you a transplant like most of us?
I am a transplant from Miami, Florida.
Nice.
Yeah. Go Heat without LeBron, no king.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, you're sitting next to a Spurs fan, and I think that's the only trophy that I'm going to have for a while, because the Orioles got swept.
Well, I'm going to be playing for a shot at a trophy against the Wildman tonight, the Ultimate Schmoedown.
Yeah, now, we're going to ask Macuga a little bit later in the show how he feels about this matchup, because, again, this is the Final Four. The winner of this goes to the finals against Mark Riley.
Yeah.
How do you feel?
It's not going to... Look, Josh Macuga has gotten to this place. Everyone thought he was out. I thought he was going to be out in the first round against Bonnie.
Your talking's a little staggered right now.
I'm not as confident against him as I was against Finstock because Macuga knows weird stuff. So like he could pull out knowing things that no one else should know, and he saw it with an ex-girlfriend one time when he was hammered, remembers that exact moment because that was the time she did whatever. So that's what he's got.
I'm going to give you a little bit of a hint. I'm going to give you a little bit of a leg up since I don't want you to feel like I'm letting you down since you're one of my good friends. So is he. If you start to lose and maybe you're trailing by a couple points going into the final round, just throw peanuts at the guy. The guy cannot handle.
He's allergic to
peanuts. So it's either going to be he wins the Schmoeville or he goes and gets his
you don't know what my intro is. Anyway, so
he just comes out like Dumbo and just throws peanuts at him.
I'm going to poison him. So that's it. We have a big show tonight, and I know that everybody's wondering. And for you guys to get involved, like you always do, if you're watching on Twitter, make sure that you hashtag #SchmoesKnow. Make sure you do that. Get involved in all the stories. We're going to talk about a lot of movie stories that happen, and yes, of course, we're going to talk about Marvel and DC. There was so much news, but for that, from 6:30 to 7, we're actually going to bring in Matt Key, who hosts our show Marvel Movie News, as well as Adam Gertler, who's going to be hosting our DC show, and they're going to go at it.
I can't wait to watch these two geeks from different worlds of comic book filmdom come together and really have it's going to be like a great civil war with these two. Before we get to that, we do have we're down a man tonight. Ken Knapsack is not going to be here. Maybe he's going to be here later. He's trying on a suit at Men's Warehouse. Things got backed up. He's still getting his measurements done, so he's not
dancing around the store weirdly.
Which is why we'll probably have to call Aladdin bail bonds later on tonight. He's not going to be here to do the news, and so there's nobody that could capably refill Kenny's comedic spin on the news. So we're just going to talk about the news.
Yeah, we thought Copster was going to do the news, and then we heard his intro, and we said, let's just read. So let's talk about some of these news stories. There's a lot. And by the way, guys, if you guys are watching right now, and there's a particular story that you guys want us to talk about that's not the Civil War or DC slate, because we're going to get to that at 6:30, go ahead and submit that hashtag #SchmoesKnow.
Let's keep it to the Civil War between Marvel and DC, not the North and the South.
That's
Let's
right.
Keep those tweets.
So one of the first story that I'd like to open with here is that there's been a lot of talk about this Danny Boyle, Steve Jobs movie. Everyone was saying, who's going to play Steve Jobs? Leonardo DiCaprio was up at one point. There were so many different actors circulating around the role. What I just heard recently is that Christian Bale now is the guy who's in talks. Now, Alicia, how are you feeling about Christian Bale possibly being Steve Jobs?
I think out of all the names, he's the best choice. I wanted to see Leonardo DiCaprio do it because I think he could have done a really good job, and I want to see him in a Danny Boyle film and speaking Aaron Sorkin dialogue.
Yeah.
That would be awesome, but that's not going to happen. So I think Christian Bale is probably the best choice because they were saying Benedict Cumberbatch and a few others, but Christian is great at transformation.
Thank you.
You know what? She wasn't talking about you. Oh. It's really fun to watch somebody who's famous, who we already have seen on screen, do various roles, try to be somebody that we also know is famous. Like, I thought it was pretty incredible what Ashton Kutcher was able to do when he played Steve Jobs. I thought he did a very nice impression.
Just that film
of Steve Jobs.
That's the key
impression.
role.
Yeah.
Impression.
So did I. I was wondering, are we just throwing out Ashton Kutcher and what he did in this whole thing?
Did you think he was good as
I mean,
Jobs?
It was decent.
I thought it was a good impression. But but when you're,
it was just a bad film.
It's Kutcher though. He's acting at it.
Right.
You know, he's never going to embody.
Right.
But he's acting at it.
Yeah.
But he did decent.
From what he did,
it was a really good punk. You know.
Yeah. It was. But I think
punked Steve Jobs.
but the difference between like someone like Kutcher and you get Bale is obviously in this league when it comes to acting. So you know that Bale, look what he did in The Fighter. He's going to become Steve Jobs. Even though Ashton Kutcher, like you said, did a great impression, there's going to be a different level to Christian Bale playing him, and I think Christian Bale will actually look more like Steve Jobs.
And this film seems a lot better because the problem I had with the other Steve Jobs movie was it cut out right at the point it was going to get interesting.
Right. Well, this is based off off the biography that did so.
And it's like before his talks. You know,
yes.
You see him behind the scenes.
Yeah, it's based off that book that came out that everyone was raving about, and
really
it's
thick one.
Yeah, and it's the actual.
My eyes glazed over when I heard the thick book.
Yeah, it's the official one. It's the one that the family signed off on and all that stuff too. So you're going to get a lot more, and they didn't touch on anything in the Kutcher movie.
Here's the thing, though, is that we love Christian Bale primarily because he's a great actor, but he's been in a lot of cool action movies. He's been in Batman. He's going to be in this biblical movie later on this year. He was in The Fighter. Do we want to see him waste a year of his life trying to lose weight or trying to fit into the glasses of Steve Jobs, or would we rather see somebody else who's more already looking like that and that we don't care about playing another superhero
but who
be
else
that?
would you choose?
I don't. It could be an unknown. It could just be let's get an unknown to play Steve Jobs, because if it's Danny Boyle's movie, he might want his directorial style to overtake the film, as opposed to do you think Christian Bale's. You're not gonna. Here's what I'm gonna tell Christian Bale if he's watching the show, and I think he is. You're not winning an Oscar for playing Steve Jobs. I don't care. I don't agree with that. I don't care if you thought Ashton Kutcher was great or was terrible or somewhere in the middle playing Steve Jobs. You're not gonna win an Oscar playing the same dude that somebody else played a couple years ago.
That's a bet. That's a bet. That's a bet. That's a bet. Okay, let's put a bet on the table right now.
Because Johnny Vegas over here is going to write that down.
That's a bet. And by the way, Macuga is definitely going to be paying up on the one bet we have. And so what we're going to be talking about here with this bet, as far as him getting nominated. Is nominated.
Yeah, no, you got to say nominated. Because
nominated.
You don't know who else
You're saying nominated.
I said win an Oscar.
Win an Oscar?
I said win an Oscar.
Do you think it could be nominated for it?
I think we should say nominated.
Because your same argument. You're saying.
I'll make it interesting. Okay, let's say nominated. Let's say you're not getting nominated because I might have said nominated.
Aaron Sorkin written film with Danny Boyle directing.
About a real life person that people love. It's tick, 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 Oscar written all over.
Stephaune, who's winning this bet?
I think you guys got it. Aaron Sorkin.
You're sitting on my side of the table.
My bad. I didn't know what the rules were here. All right.
Is it a Heat Spurs thing?
It is actually. It is. It burns
You're
me
back
deep.
in Cleveland now. You're gonna be fine.
It cut me deep. I'm going with you guys. I think he'll get an Oscar for it. At least a nod.
At least a nod, because this is
the time of the year when Kristian, just so you know who you're dealing with here. Kristian loves throwing out who's going to win Oscars.
I've been pretty good at it. I'm pretty good at it.
I'm not saying you're bad at it, but it's like, you walk around.
It's annoying, but I'm good at it.
And now you got Malone under your spell.
Now wait, we got Macuga's here.
I'm good at it too.
Let's get Macuga's mic on, because he's been chomping at the bit here. What's going on?
Well, first, let me just say, who won the Oscar poll this year? I believe it was me.
No, congratulations.
Oh, we tied.
It was Riley. Oh, it was a tie.
It was a tie.
And then you made Riley buy you beers with his money.
Nope, I bought him beers.
Yeah.
That's what I just said. You drunk again?
I think the fact that I had Justine Marino sitting in my lap for all 3 hours of the telecast means I won the Oscar.
Sure.
Poll.
All right, focus. All right, here's the thing. Okay.
Awesome.
Listen, we've already seen a Steve Jobs movie. Okay.
Not a good one.
It wasn't a good one.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to see another one.
Why?
We've already seen everything about Steve Jobs.
No, we haven't.
His life
No,
in
we
the public.
haven't. Not at all. No, we have not even at all. We don't. That's incorrect. Turn his mic off. Turn his mic off.
We don't care.
But some people are also going to say that this feels a little bit like Spider-Man, where maybe Raimi's trilogy didn't touch on everything that's about Spider-Man, and so the Amazing Spider-Man did add some stuff.
Right.
But it's also, you're going to have to retread a lot of the same ground that the other movie already did. And while Spider-Man is a really neat superhero that swings on tall buildings, Steve Jobs is a guy that invented a lot of products that we're even using on this show right now.
But imagine if a Spider-Man movie stopped right at the point where he was becoming Spider-Man.
It's like the Robin Hood with the Ridley Scott Robin Hood, where it's like, we got the merry men, let's go hide in the far and the movie's over.
We're obviously split on that, so let's move on to our next thing, though. So there's a new poster out for Jurassic World. Ooh. This thing looks cool. I think it goes back to the old school.
The John Alvin.
Yeah, when you get back to the original, and it looks kind of beat up. Like it takes place like 20 years later. I love it.
You get all that it's beat up from the poster.
Yeah, look, it's just kind of it looks.
It's got some carbon scoring in the corners.
That's the one.
Yeah, so down the bottom, it's got a bit of oxidization.
Yeah,
rustic.
What are you guys, the team from Bones, analyzing this poster? It's a poster and it says Jurassic World. That's enough to get me excited.
That's all we got to go on.
It's just the fact that this movie's coming out again, and it's dinosaur bones. By the way, dinosaur bones don't excite me. When I was 5 years old, I wanted to be an archaeologist. Okay.
How do you feel about this movie? You're a Jurassic Park guy. How are you excited?
I can't wait to see the movie.
Do you like the poster?
I like the poster, but I'll tell you why I like the poster. Why? Because it means that there's really a movie coming out. You know, you never really know a movie's coming out until you go to the theater and you're looking at all the upcoming posters. And you're like, oh, that looks cool. Oh, that looks stupid. Oh, it's Shia LaBeouf. He's my favorite. Oh, look, Jurassic World. Holy crap.
Well,
that's what's exciting about it.
Where are they going to go with this, though? It's now
supposed to be 20 years later. Yeah. Like the park's going to be open again.
Dinosaurs again, though? The park got...
Yeah.
They're loose again?
What I like about it...
Not dinosaurs. Dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs. Well, what I like about it is the director, Colin Trevorrow, who, to our own Josh Macuga, had said...
Safety not guaranteed.
Yeah. Josh had asked him about, what it was going to be like, and he said, look, we're going to follow what came before us. So they're really going to go back to like the first movie.
Sure.
And to me, we haven't seen that in part 2 and 3. It kind of lost itself.
Sure did.
And I'll try to say on something right now. Is it not only have Chris Pratt in the movie, who I can't wait to see what he does in that role, is that there's rumors that there's going to be some sort of dinosaur that can swim underwater and then come out of water,
Right.
and then be an out of water dinosaur as well. So it's an underwater dinosaur, which is scary enough. It's like Jaws, and then Jaws grows legs and can run on land.
Yeah.
It's like a crocodile.
Well, moving on. Also,
Yeah, I guess it's like a crocodile.
They'll get you.
I just had an audition.
I told you,
to play
things are like dinosaurs.
The black Chris Pratt, though, by the way, just so you know.
To be the black Chris Pratt?
Yeah.
Really?
in life.
Yeah. Walking around. as Chris Pratt.
That'd
Or
be
wait, are you just
awesome.
hanging out in the woods with a big tree and a raccoon? Is that pretty much what you need to do?
There's a new trailer that came out today that people are starting to buzz. You talk about Oscar bait, and they have In the Heart of the Sea, which is Ron Howard's new movie, which seems to be with his new muse, if you will, and that's Chris Hemsworth. The true story mixed with Moby Dick. So, what'd you think? What'd you think of the trailer?
I thought it looked cool. It looks so beautiful. The colors and everything doesn't give away too much of the story,
Right.
and it does
Which is
seem
a great
very
trailer.
serious. But yeah, it gets you excited, and at the end you see this big whale tail coming out of the water, and that is awesome.
And it kind of had like a Jaws feel almost towards the end there too.
like because you see the water coming towards you,
Yeah.
and see what's underneath, and then.
And you know there's just going to be a lot of despair because you have Chris Hemsworth though is a dude, and we say this every single time. This dude has gone from just being Thor to a full-fledged movie star.
Yeah.
Like he's a movie star. You see him
And he's
in
a
it,
good actor,
and he's a
too.
good actor. But like when Rush, talking about Ron Howard, that was a great underrated movie. And now that they're working together again, if it was anyone else, if it was a different director or a different actor in the same type of trailer, I'd be like, okay, that's kind of interesting. But because it's these two, it added a little bit more, a bit of a special feel for me.
All right, I'm going to do a question for the whole panel right
Yeah.
now. Raise your hand if you read Moby Dick.
Just the smart Riley. That's
Just
it.
Riley. You read Moby Dick?
Yeah.
No, I never did.
Did you have to read it for school, or did you just read it cuz?
No, I read it.
JT doesn't want your mic on.
I know he doesn't.
Yeah, he doesn't.
Well, you
Doesn't
already
read.
read Moby
Yeah.
Dick, yeah. I've never read Moby Dick. Obviously, I think it's a really neat story, and it's a great allegory. This guy he just can't find his white whale. We all have our white whale. Mine is named Paige Murray, and I think that it's going to be a neat movie if it's based on that. But then it's also have some real life, some based on a true story. I don't know how those two are going to mesh.
Drama,
Yeah,
action.
yeah.
Oh, I think
Got
it's
it all.
yeah. It looks like a hardcore drama to me.
Have I sold you?
Well, yeah. I think it sounds really, really interesting and looked interesting to me. So I love the trailer. And it seems like Schmoeville again. Hashtag Schmoes know. Did you guys enjoy the trailer?
When's this baby come out?
I'm not sure.
But it
March. It comes out in March. Thanks to
March. All right, you want to bet on that one for Oscar? It's coming out in March.
No.
that's true.
No. But another movie that comes out in March of 2016 is Batman v Superman.
That's a hell of a transition.
Thank you very much. Gal Gadot, who's playing Wonder Woman in that movie, and as well as Game of Thrones actor Pedro Pascal, just got cast in Ben-Hur. As well as also in Ben-Hur, you have
What's his face?
Jack Houston.
Yep.
Oh, yes.
Right, Jack Houston playing
They're
Ben-Hur.
doing Ben-Hur?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah, they're remaking Ben-Hur, and now with Gal Gadot, do you think? Because we haven't been proven that she can act. She's just been in the Fast and Furious movie. Do you think that they're cashing in on the fact that they know now, when this DC slate did get announced, that hey, this is Wonder Woman. She's gonna have a following. Let's
Or
get her in a
maybe
movie.
she's good, and people see a
that's-
different side to it.
It's possible. But what do you think the case is?
I don't know, because the Fast Furious movies, she didn't get much material to work with.
Right,
She
and it's
was good in a
interesting
bikini,
timing. And it's interesting timing because of all the buzz with her as Wonder Woman.
Yeah, it is true.
So what do you guys think?
I'm excited for Ben-Hur, and I think that they've already announced with this DC slate that was upcoming, they announced that there is going to be a standalone Wonder Woman film, and I think that they have some sort of confidence in her based on what they've seen, which you can already do in Batman v Superman, the limited amount that those producers have to go on. And so I think that that's a pretty easy sell if you're an agent and you're trying to sell your client on the phone to a new movie. It's like, oh, by the way,
Right.
she's
Wonder
involved in this. So yeah, what's the worst that could happen? What's the worst that could happen? She's not great in Ben-Hur. The movie's called Ben-Hur. I mean, not Ben-Hit, but it's about a dude.
But the worst that can happen is that it stops the Jack Houston train, because they're pushing this for Jack Houston. This is a big start. This is a big move for
Gal
Jack
Gadot being
Houston.
bad in Ben-Hur is not going to stop the Jack Houston train. Jack Houston is the only one that can stop it, and I don't think he will, because that dude
He's
has
great.
talent to burn.
Yeah.
What do you think about the Ben-Hur remake?
I want to see Ben-Hur definitely, because it's kind of got that whole spiritual significance to it. I like those movies like The Exodus that's coming out.
Yeah.
But I can't get my mind off this Wonder Woman. Don't you guys think that's going to flop? Wonder Woman?
Batman v Superman? No. No,
I think that the success of the Wonder Woman standalone film is going to hinge upon how good Batman v Superman is.
Totally.
Now, you might have a bigger box office drop off from week 1 to week 2 with something like Wonder Woman than you would with Batman v Superman. But I think if she makes her presence known in that movie, then I think her movie's going to crush.
She's like a team player, though. I can't see her being standalone.
Well, I think what they're going to do, and
she needs other people.
Yeah, but I think what they're going to do is, it's like Alice just said, is that they're going to really establish her in Batman v Superman, and then they already announced that she's going to have a standalone movie. But the way that they're playing it is that with Zeus as her father, and they're going to play with the Greek gods element.
To the Greek element.
So I think they can probably make an interesting, different movie. Yeah, so that's right. That's going to be their answer to the Thor.
Yeah. Give it a chance, I guess.
Give her a go.
This was an interesting story that I stumbled upon today. Is that Night of the Living Dead, the one that really started off the entire zombie, George Romero, his son, wants to do a prequel and is trying to raise the money for it, shoot it very low budget, very similar to what his dad did with the original, and I kind of dig this idea. I'm curious how you feel about it.
I dig it as well. I mean, he's unproven as a director himself, but just the legacy of it, I think that is great.
I mean, I'd like to announce that talent doesn't necessarily run in the family. How do you know? I'm not a doctor. I mean,
that's true.
It doesn't necessarily happen in the genes, but
you studied.
But you studied. I didn't make it to pre-med. Do you know how sad it is to not make it to pre-something? I think that if
maybe he watches The Walking Dead.
This kid. But look, if you grew up around that, and if it's something, because unlike professions, I think that being a director is one of those things where it's also your hobby and it's also your love, right? Because there were a lot of things that were passed down. Like I love the Redskins because my dad and all that stuff. We could bond over that. So if you bond over horror movies and you learn how to make them from an early age, then that does give you a huge leg up. So I am actually excited that it's staying within the family.
What do you think?
Yeah, no, I'm thinking low budget could be really cool actually for a horror movie. Just kind of doing it real rugged and gritty.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I vote for him. I want to see what he got.
Yeah. So here's a couple tweets.
It's a good time for zombie movies.
Yeah, it's true. Well, here's a couple things coming in from Schmoeville. At Legally Feminist says, I can't wait for Wonder Woman. Come on, DC. We need a strong female-driven superhero movie. Make this happen.
Yes.
Now we have Legally Feminist.
At J Mizzy.
What is an illegal feminist? Is that like a naked feminist? It's like you got to put some clothes on before you become legal.
At J Mizzy 1989, how the hell, with Danny Boyle directing an Aaron Sorkin script and Christian Bale as the lead, how the hell not an Oscar?
Okay, first of all, I want to say this to Jay Mizzy, who's from Kentucky and came to my show in Kentucky. I can't believe you leave me in this moment when I need support. Come on, Josh.
Yeah, okay. And now the Riddler 109. I loved Rush, so this new collaboration between Ron Howard and Hemsworth is very exciting for me. So those are the opinions coming in from Schmoeville. And before we get to our Marvel DC news, we're going to talk about that in just a second. Let's, we should probably, right before we introduce those guys, there's one more story that this James Wan thing I wanted to ask you about, because I know you're a James Wan fan.
Oh, yeah.
We got to talk to him.
Guy knows how to scare me.
He had an interview about Fast 7 and working on this movie. He said that this was the hardest movie he has ever had to do.
Well, there's an obvious reason for that, is that you lost Paul Walker, one of your stars, to a tragic accident.
But the shooting and all that stuff, like just in general, like the schedule and the action, it's been very difficult.
Look, I watched like Fast 5 and Fast 6. Any of those movies, it just looks really, really hard to shoot. I've never wanted to be a director because it's way too much responsibility anyway, much less when you have all these stunts going on and all these different things. And again, the specter of losing somebody who was your star to a tragic car accident can't help any of that stuff.
Yeah, Alicia?
Yeah, I understand why it's the hardest shoot he's ever done. And he comes from the horror world, so he's very well known with that. This is his first big action movie.
Right.
So I really hope he does well with it, because I like him as a director. I think he's great. And he's Australian.
Rest in peace, Paul Walker. He's gone, man. So I would stop it. Stop.
You think they should stop because really?
Yeah, enough.
Really?
7? We're on 7.
But dude, they make so much money.
But they make a lot of cash. And the last, have you seen the last two?
No.
See, that's the thing. Listen,
really?
That's the thing. Is that the first for me?
I'll go back and watch now that y'all said that.
Because the reason I say that is because the first movie, I was like, whatever. And then you get 2, 3, 4. I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Right,
Just
that's
stop.
where I'm lost at.
But then when they made 5, they really turned the genre, and they turned it into this
turned the
big
proverbial
action.
corner.
They did. There you go.
In driving terms.
But they turned this big action heist movie, and then they continued that in 6.
Their silliness as well.
Absolutely.
They know it's silly.
Go back and watch 5, dude. I'm
Okay.
telling you, 5
I'll
because
also say this about James Wan, as far as the hardest projects he's ever had to direct. I mean, again, he did The Conjuring, which is a great movie, but like, you put the camera in the house, you flick the lights off, and you're done shooting for the day.
I don't know. I'd like to challenge that because that movie,
You're filming ghosts. There's literally nothing on screen to film, and you go from that to a bunch of cars.
Dude, he won me over in that movie. I can't stand a lot of those movies. I think they're so lazy and dumb. But what he did and the way he shoots and the way that not even anyone died in that movie, but he made it creepy.
A lot of cars to deal with.
I'm just saying, as a director, like in The Conjuring, you got to film these stairs, and then you're gonna hear hands clapping, and you go from that into thousands of cars jumping over trains into helicopters. It's a little bit tougher.
I agree with that. All right, moving on. One more story before we get into the Marvel stuff is that I would like to pay tribute here to Elizabeth Pena, who was an actress.
Yeah.
She was in Batteries Not Included. She was in Jacob's Ladder. She was in Down and Out in Beverly Hills.
She was in La Bamba.
That she was in
La Bamba,
yes.
yeah.
And she just passed away recently. Very sad. She was one of these character actors that was just, you recognized her face immediately. She was very talented, and it is very sad that she.
If you haven't seen Batteries Not Included, it's one of these fun movies from the '80s that doesn't get enough love. I guess it's an alien movie. It's a family alien movie. These little tiny things, they fly around, and it's a little bit. It's got the Cocoon feel because they're flying around a bunch of old people. Yeah, right. Jessica Tandy she's got these little spaceships flying around her, and if I'm pitching in a meeting that there's going to be these little saucers flying around this old chick's head, I'm not the first guy in line to see that movie, but it ended up being great.
You definitely fall in love with him, like Wall-E. How you fell in love with Wall-E?
See, maybe you fell in love with Wall-E.
I like what? You didn't love Wall-E?
I loved Wall-E, and I felt terrible what that awful iPod cock tease of a female did to Wall-E for the rest of that movie.
Yeah, I liked Wall-E as well.
It was a good movie.
Well, look, I mean, if we're going to get into the Marvel versus DC bout that we have, we should probably kick off with the Justice League villain being announced, right?
Well, not announced. It was rumored. Justice League was rumored at first with on Meet the Movie Press. We had Mark Riley. We'll get Mark Riley's mic on in a second here, too, because Riley, can you tell us, you had El Mayambe from Latino Review. He was on Meet the Movie Press. Can you kind of tell us what the scoop was that he dropped on the show?
Yeah, he dropped the scoop that the villain, spoiler alert, should I say it?
Yeah.
Is going to be Brainiac.
Justice League.
The movie's not out yet, right? You can't spoil the movie.
Well, we're spoiling a point. We got it. Believe me, dude, you're not yelled at every day on Twitter.
Actually, I am.
That's true.
My mom just got a handle.
Riley, Alicia wants to know who Brainiac is.
Brainiac is a really famous Superman villain and one of the best villains. He's just, by the name, he's very smart.
I gather he's of above average intelligence. He could probably get into Wake Forest University. He also happens to have some Kryptonian superpowers, which makes him a very interesting foil for Superman, who, as we all know, is the most powerful of the members of the Justice League. And I think that he's been in cahoots with Lex Luthor before, right? Yeah.
Yes, he has. And so, to go on with the scoop, apparently he hears the same signal that Superman let off in Man of Steel that Zod found.
Oh, right.
So Brainiac comes and hones in on that.
Well, it makes sense to use him then.
It does. That's what we talked about on Meet the Movie Press. It's like, that sounds pretty right on.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah, awesome.
And we're going to get into all the DC stuff, Marvel stuff. I just got word from our associate producer, Black Shirt McGee over there.
Announcer.
That we're going to have to push the Marvel vs. DC discussion until 7 o'clock, which is fine. When we come, we're going to go to break here in just a second. When we come back, we're going to talk about the upcoming movies that are coming out.
Yeah, don't worry, your parents are not getting a divorce.
It's okay.
We're going to take a break now. But we'll be back.
Yes, but I'd like to thank Stephaune for joining us today. Stephaune, where can they find you on Twitter and stuff?
My Twitter handle is @IamMoreFire.
Nice.
I am more fire.
You have to explain what that's all about.
Is that a Heat? Yeah. Is that a Miami Heat handle?
No. Yeah, well, it kind of, our logo kind of looks like.
I am more fire, yeah.
Right.
Look, I'll tell you this, I am more fire. You got to check out those Fast movies, okay?
I will.
You watch the Fast movies, you read Moby Dick, you come back, you tell me what that book's about, and then we'll talk about this.
Moby Dick. I'll watch Fast.
Stephaune Wallace, thank you so much.
Thank you guys. Had a great time.
All right, guys, when we get back from break, we will be talking about the upcoming movies and taking some of your phone calls as well. Schmoes No Movies.
Schmoeville? It's me, the Wildman Josh Macuga. You guys know me from the podcast and Wildman TV, but did you also know I have my own talk show? It's called Between the Sheets. I bring on comedians, TV personalities, adult stars, and we talk about everything, but mostly sex. So go to my YouTube channel, The Casual Mafia, subscribe, and see every episode of Between the Sheets. We done? Yeah, I'll be right there, sweet.
Hey, I'm Ken Knapsack.
My name is Maud Garrett.
And this is the Jedi Alliance, a celebration of the greatest saga ever told, Star Wars.
In every single episode, you can expect so much Star Wars goodness. Not only do we put two things in the Star Wars universe against each other in Duel of the Fates.
We have great trivia, guests, and also some fierce discussions over pronunciations of certain ships.
And we can't promise that we won't be doing our very own sound effects or impressions and impersonations.
This is true. We've got up-to-date Star Wars news, speculation on episode 7 as well, and you can find us on iTunes, where I want you to subscribe, rate, and review.
Oh, and you can also find us on the YouTube channel, which of course is youtube.com/SchmoesKnow podcast. Rate and review, you will.
Yes, you will. That's the Jedi Alliance on the Schmoes Know Network.
You know, Mark, for a very long time, I was browsing around the internet. I never had one destination that I would go for my movie news.
Oh, that's really sad. You're like an orphan. So what happened?
So I found a place now that I can go every day that I check religiously to get my movie news from. You know where that place is?
I bet I do.
Schmoesknow.com. That's right, Schmoesknow.com. And are we biased? Absolutely. But besides being biased, we have Mark Riley, a.k.a. Yodi, for those of you who listen to the podcast. And this guy is a beast when it comes to putting stories out there.
He is the editor-in-chief of Schmoesknow.com, and of course you get to see our mugs on there. You also get all the latest movie scoops, stories, opinions, buzz, all that good stuff. Everything that you love about film, you can check out at Schmoesknow.com.
That's right. It's one of the. We launched in like July of 2013, and within a month or two, we were covered by Variety and Hollywood Reporter. Riley and the writers on the staff are doing a great job. So go over there and get your movie news over at Schmoesknow.com. And guess what? You can now watch the podcast 7 to 9 p.m. Where, Mark?
On Schmoesknow.com. It's streaming.
It's that easy. So go there, check it out, and make it your destination for movie news.
Be like Christian. Love Schmoesknow.com.
He doesn't even know we have a website.
Stand-up comedy, sketch comedy, screenwriting, radio, acting, professional wrestling, love, life. Ken Knapsack, the producer of the Schmoes Know podcast, has failed at all of these things, but his friends haven't. So join Ken as he makes his wonderful friends your friends, including some of your favorite Schmoes Know characters as they discuss life, the universe, and everything on The Knapsack Files. Available on Stitcher and iTunes. Hashtag The Knapsack Files to join the conversation.
Hello, Schmoeville. This is Mark Riley here.
And I'm Jeff Snyder.
And we are Meet the Movie Press, and we are taping shows every week with special guests from Variety, from Badass Digest, from all over the internet, all over the geek blogosphere and the trades. We are breaking down the news every week, the most hot stories, the biggest scoops, and we want you, Schmoeville, to subscribe, rate, comment on the iTunes and YouTube channels on the Schmoes Know Movie Network.
You have such a handsome voice, Mark.
Well, thank you, Jeff. I like being here with you. So guys, come on, check us out every week. Meet the Movie Press. We're excited to be doing this. We're excited to be breaking down everything, and we want you to come with us every week for this wonderful journey we are on. Right, Jeff?
Please.
Schmoeville. I always love when JT picks the music. He picks good music, and it's the help from Schmoeville. By the way, if you don't know, on Facebook, you guys actually started your own fan page, Schmoeville ! They do live chats, and you guys should go ahead and join that if you haven't. Even if you're watching on YouTube the next day, go and join and request because Schmoeville has to accept you in there, which is great as well.
It's really fun because they do a live commentary during the show, so you can chime in with the action that's going on. So there's probably a lot of people killing me for not having read Moby Dick, and also for not knowing what that music was that brought us back. What's that from?
I never know.
Chite?
Don't look at me.
Edge of Tomorrow.
Oh, was Edge of Tomorrow? Nice.
Man, I should have known
Tough Mudder.
That I did the Tough Mudder for Edge of Tomorrow. Well, Kristian, I got really dirty that day, and I got big shows coming up this weekend, and I want to look good, and there's only so much you can do to this face.
Yeah.
One of those would probably be shaving it a little bit.
Yeah, I love Dollar Shave Club, guys. We've been talking about it the last 3 or 4 weeks. It's awesome. Everybody here, when I said, we have a new sponsor, it's going to be Dollar Shave, everyone was so excited because Josh Macuga uses it, Ken uses it, we use it now, because the question is, for you guys, is there anything worse than buying razors? Because you got to remember that you need them in the first place.
No, you got to go to the store, and then you got to go to the back of the grocery store. Then you got to find the one dude who's always the guy who's about to get fired with the key to the plastic case that has the razors in it. Then you got to buy the razors, and this is like a weekly rigmarole you have to go through.
Well, it's very easy. You join Dollar Shave Club. We did it. Ken did it. Josh did it. It's for a few bucks a month. DollarShaveClub.com. It delivers great razors right to your door. DollarShaveClub.com. It's so much smarter than going to the store because the plan it starts at $3 a month. And you sign up once, and it takes 2 minutes. Then you sit back, and blades arrive like clockwork.
Yeah, there's no membership sheet. There's no commitment, which really gets me excited. And of course, there is always a money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose by trying them out. Stop going to the store for overpriced razors. Do what Ken did. Do what Josh did. Do what me and Kristian did. Join DollarShaveClub.com, and when you go to DollarShaveClub.com/schmoes, it helps us out. DollarShaveClub.com/schmoes.
Yeah, Macuga, you're a big fan of Dollar Shave Club. You use it all the time, right?
I am a big fan of Dollar Shave Club, and ironically enough, my mom started using Dollar Shave Club for her legs.
Oh, yeah.
Because she lost a razor. She used my dad's razor, loved it, so she started ordering Dollar Shave Club.
There you go, ladies.
So, it's for the ladies
don't
as
think
well.
it's just for dudes.
do that too.
You should. It's a Dollar Shave Club, guys.
Yeah, Josh shaves his face with it, or you should shave his arms with it at
Yes.
some point if he continues to wear short sleeve shirts.
Now, look, we're going to open up the phone lines in just a little bit as well to talk about some of these upcoming movies this month, but also to let you guys know, like we do every week, we have been doing a lot of giveaways. The studios have been very, very generous in giving some prizes, and we got a great one. Ellis is going to love this one. I'm going to let our editor-in-chief, Mark Riley, talk about what we have to give away.
I have
Mark,
no prior knowledge of what we're giving
You're
away.
going to want to join the contest.
Okay.
Riley, what do we got?
We got the special edition release, finally, the Blu-ray of Kingpin.
Oh my God!
One of the greatest comedies, one of the greatest
The Farrelly brothers at their peak. Bill Murray,
Absolutely.
Woody Harrelson.
That's right.
Randy Quaid before he went crazy.
We have 3 copies thanks to Paramount Home Media Distribution. Here's what you do, guys. You can go to schmoesno.com. You can check out the contest. But here's what it is. One caller will call in for Ultimate Schmoedown. Whoever picks a winner, Darth Harloff or the Wildman, will win. Then we have the famous JTE quotes, movie quotes. So tweet out with the hashtag schmoesno, and that'll be the best one will win a copy. And then a tweet that we're going to tweet out from schmoesno, retweet it, and at random we're going to pick one of those retweets, and you're going to get a copy of Kingpin.
That's right. And if you guys don't know what he's talking about, if you haven't watched yet and you're brand new to the show and you don't know what a JTE quote is, JTE is notorious for screwing up names. Leslie Nielsen, John LaJoie, Guillermo del Toro.
Dolph Lundgren.
There's tons of them. And I believe even recently Antoine Fuqua. There's a lot of great ones. And so what Josh Macuga, Ken Napzok, and a few of us kind of came up with is the fact that what happens if JT wrote famous movie quotes?
There'd be a lot of near misses is what would happen. Instead of feeling the need for speed from Top Gun, he'd feel the desire to go fast.
Right.
Yeah.
And, or, the famous one of Forrest Gump was, Mama always said life was like rocks and chocolate. So
I'm
what
going
you
to
guys...
make you an offer you can't confuse.
Right. So you guys, what you guys have to do tonight in order to same way all throughout the show, hashtag it schmoesno and give us your best JTE movie quotes, and the best one will win tonight.
Keep the cash, you filthy monkey.
Yeah. So there you go. So those are the contests, and for me, I think. Some of those times that JT screws up is just unbelievable. It's just
it is, and look, I'll go to bat for the kid because a lot of the time he's engineering the show. There's a reason why he's called Chite, is that he does a great job for us. It's just occasionally, like all of us do, you get a little absent-minded. You forget to put a letter where it's supposed to be, a punctuation where it's supposed to be, and we end up with a fun game.
But he engineers all the shows. He does a great job.
JT,
Profiles, he does a good job.
Yeah, JT, do you think it's unbelievable?
I think what is unbelievable.
Did we make you a mortar? I'm sorry, a mortar.
Yeah, right. He's a mortar. What is that? What do you see? JT is a mess right now. He's watching the football game and he's not paying attention.
Oh, the Patriots are playing right now. They're playing the hated rival, the Jets.
Right. I love the smell of facepalm in the morning. That's good. That's from Leanne. It's good stuff. Okay, JT, I don't know what you're doing back there. Here, all right. So let's talk about some of the upcoming movies. We have Birdman.
Yeah.
Which is
breathing down my neck like it's some kind of personal vendetta against Bobby Finstock.
You know what?
Bobby Finstock. Bobby Finstock.
There what is this?
Here we go.
Bobby
It's
Finstock.
the man, the myth, the host of Box Office Breakdown on the Schmoes Know Network, Finstock.
IRS is breathing down my neck.
Goodness.
He's got the headband today.
Got the headband.
Bobby Finstock.
All right. Shh.
Like it's some kind of personal vendetta.
Just wait for JT to stop watching the football game.
I'm scared.
He's waiting for the music to stop. He won't let it stop. There you go.
Poofs around the horn.
Poofs around the horn. Okay. All right.
You know, I'll say this about Finstock, is that fame has not changed him.
No.
He was always the weirdo that he has been, and then he got this Box Office Breakdown show.
And killed it as JT's lawyer. Had his best performance as JT's lawyer.
He was great. He got his client off, and now he's the host of a successful show on the Schmoes Know Network, and he's the same guy that we all knew and were very confused by since he made his debut.
What do you got?
Bob doesn't change at all.
Is your mic on?
Yeah.
All right.
I think.
Is it?
He's telling you that his mic's on. It's on.
I got a proposition for Alicia if she's into it, I think.
Okay.
I've been doing some body appraisals with this guy, Dick Patterson. It's his insurance company. So basically, he insures like J-Lo's butt and like Halle Berry's cleavage and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I was wondering.
Really
if,
winning her over.
You'd be like interested in me like taking some like appraisal photos of you
No.
or something.
No.
Well, let's hear him out here. This could be a good idea for your future.
But what? What, like her hair?
No, maybe like her, her clavicle bones and stuff. Because look, if she falls,
You love clavicles.
Like say if like she's on like a DC.
She's hiding on that from you. She's scaring you. You're not winning her over.
Or if a marble scoop comes out or something,
She doesn't
jumps
like
off her
marble.
bed and
Do you
busts
kn-
her clavicle.
do you know
I can
her?
insure her for that.
You see, the problem is, Finstock, you've never bothered to get to know me.
What are you
So
talking
until
about?
you do that, then
I beg to differ. He knows that you have great clavicles.
But yes,
he doesn't know anything about me.
What would she
Doesn't know
rather? What
Marvel,
kind of movies do you think
DC?
she'd want to watch?
With me?
Yeah, with you.
Yeah. Well,
What movie would you
say?
pick if you were going to sit down by a fire and watch a movie and you get to pick? This is.
Oh, Eyes Wide Shut, of course.
Would you like that?
Yeah.
No.
It's not my favorite.
No, Bob, this is not a movie you want to see. This is a movie that you think is going to get you to the next level with Alicia. What movie would you pick?
Or what genre
Eyes Wide Shut,
would you pick?
Eyes Wide Shut.
He's
that's
still
it.
going. I like that he went against the grain. He saw that we were doubting his pick, and he's like, "No, I really want to see Eyes Wide Shut."
Finstock, what do we have? What do we have the pleasure of having you here tonight? Because you're going to talk a little about box
body
office.
appraisals.
Besides the body, we have some box office numbers. Look, you're pretty good at this thing. Look, as insane as you are and as silly as you are, you know box office. You lost last week to Alicia, by the way,
Yeah.
but
I didn't do very well either.
but you had a good run. You had a good run.
I was 5 for 5 for a couple of weeks in a row.
Yeah.
What is now? What do you?
I had a misstep last week. I was doing a lot of stuff.
Give us a break on what's coming out here. We got Birdman, which is limited release. That's not going to make the top
It's Michael
five.
Keaton's comeback.
Yeah, but limited release, great movie, just
Yeah.
not making top five. You, give us some Finstock insight here. What's going to make the top five, and what movies do you think are really going to make an impact to the box office this weekend?
Fury's going to make a
Fury's
lot of money.
number one.
Yeah, it's Brad Pitt in a tank.
You see, that's it.
Nobody takes showers on the set.
What about this Nicholas Sparks crap piece? Is that going to?
I hope not. I read the book.
No,
you read The Best of Me?
No, I read it backwards.
No, you read it backwards. Is it better that way?
That's actually better because then you get the tragedy first, and you get the romance late.
I do the same things with magazines when I'm on the bowl and stuff like that. It's weird. But I was thinking that hopefully, Fury number one probably at 30 million. But like I was saying on the show, I think it'll be a 30 million out the gate, and then it'll tank the next weekend.
Pun intended.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
He owns it.
Good one.
Yeah.
Then we got what's the other one opening up? The
Book of Life. The Book of Life. The Book of Life. The Book of Life.
Mexican.
Well, the Mexican movie is actually Dracula Untold because they love that movie in
That's
Mexico.
another
It's
Mexican.
killing it in
really?
Mexico. But the Book of Life is coming out this weekend.
The Mexicans are spending money on movies nowadays. It's not about Americans anymore.
Yeah. All right, well, everybody is. That's why the foreign market in general is.
Yeah, I don't think that's limited to Mexicans. I think people all over the world enjoy cinema.
It's more
Yeah.
China and
That's
Russia.
true.
than it's-
Yeah.
That will probably come in around 19 million.
You think Book of Life will make 19 million?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah. And then you're going to see 3 Gone Girl, which I still have a lot of flaws with, obviously.
I just. By the way, I heard your take on box office breakdown to where you can. Mark Ellis has been filling in for Sarah Stretton.
I like that guy. I like that guy a lot.
He's been pretty good. But I will tell you, I listened to your take on Gone Girl, and if I have ever disagreed with anyone, it is you.
Really?
Yeah, your opinion on Gone Girl was on a different
Well,
planet.
talk to DJ.
He
What's
knows
this?
that guy DJ. He agrees with me.
DJ Goldberg?
Yeah, DJ Goldberg.
Okay,
Friend of the show?
Yeah,
he's a
friend
really
of-
smart guy.
Okay, well,
You just disagree. Why are you getting into it with the rest of our crew?
Because
you get into it with you get into it with Finstock on that, and then you get into it with Knapsack on Rebels. You won't admit that you're the only person that doesn't want to go to Chili's after the show. Which last week when you were gone, I interrogated everybody personally. I said, "Hey, are you the one that's telling Kristian to not want to go to Chili's?" You know what they all said? They all said, "We've
Well, they're
never
being
heard
cowards.
this complaint
That's
before."
not true. They're scared of you then, because I've had conversations with people that I'm looking at in this room saying the food's not good. I don't want to be there.
I didn't say the food was good at Chili's.
They said
Horrible. Kill you.
It's not great.
Didn't I win that bet with you? Like, wasn't
No,
it like,
no,
yeah,
no,
but,
no.
Yeah, but it was like
Almost.
any girl starring in a movie.
It
for like
was
the
Marvel.
Yeah, well,
Captain
listen,
Marvel.
Finstock, I want to thank you for
But
being here
nice
tonight.
try.
Do you have anything in general that you need to talk to us about? Anything in
We're
general
gonna
before you
do.
leave?
We're gonna be giving a Stallone mug away on the box office
Oh.
breakdown show.
cool. Wow.
It's gonna
Wait,
be
a Stallone mug or the Stallone mug?
Not the that one I can't give.
But a good one. But a good one.
A really good one.
Okay, so-
I'm gonna be. It's gonna be me drinking, and there's a picture that comes along with it of me in a bathtub with that.
Are you going to sign it?
Yeah, of course.
Hickory Dickory Dock?
Yeah.
All right, so what do they do? So they got to tune in a box office breakdown.
Yeah, we're working on the actual game
Contest?
itself
Okay,
right
so-
now. But
so-
it's got something to do with iTunes.
All right, is Sarah back this week?
Yeah, I'm gonna
Okay.
talk to her about insuring some of her assets.
All right. Well, thank you. I wish Ken Knapsack was here so we could take you
Well,
away
does
in
anybody
handcuffs.
want to go to my car and listen to Jerry?
Oh, wait a
Rafferty
second.
albums
Look
with
at this. Get out of here.
Yeah, you got
Nice.
it.
Ken Knapsack.
Get out the cuffs, Kenny. Get out the cuffs.
Thanks, guys.
All right, bye, Finstock.
Make sure you guys check out Box Office Breakdown.
very nice.
It's every Monday on the Schmoes Know Podcast Network, and you can get it on iTunes after the fact. You can also watch it on YouTube. Subscribe to our channel, and it is a really fun show. Sarah somehow wrangles Finstock and Jate
Yeah, she does a
together.
good job.
Yeah. Now I made my box office predictions on that show because I've been playing for Sarah,
Yeah.
and I gave Sarah 1 out of 5 showing last week. So I'm still at my Mendoza line, but I think I made some good picks this week.
Yeah, well, I mean, look, there's a lot. I know that we have Fury, who's probably going to be the number one, sure, but the number one movie that's coming out, if you can catch it, is Birdman.
Yes.
This movie is so cool. It's going to be a movie that you definitely hear about at the Oscar season. We spent a little bit of time on it here. Is that Michael Keaton is in true form, really makes a nice comeback, and is trying to, as the character over
Sounded
again.
creepy.
Yeah, it's true. And Edward Norton
French
playing a
fried
version
taters.
of himself. There's so much
Yeah.
humor in it, but the real star, even though Michael Keaton is great, is the director.
Oh yeah, Alejandro Gonzalez Inarritu. He's so great. I mean, he's known for his really dark movies. He did his Death trilogy, which is a Morris Pereira series, right? 21 Grams and Babel, as I should say. But this one's a lot lighter. But the way it's shot is so good.
JT just lit up when you mispronounced that name. He was so happy. Just his happy little mug just popped up.
Yes.
Yeah.
But the way it's shot is incredible because it's all made to look like one long camera take.
It's like nothing I've ever seen before, and the word mesmerized gets overused when you talk about movies, because how many times do you watch a movie and you're actually mesmerized and entranced by what's happening on screen? Well, Birdman's mesmerizing.
Yeah.
It's absolutely, it's just, it blew me away. The fact that Michael Keaton is in it almost felt like icing on the cake. Cape? I just did a Jate-ism. Icing on the cape.
Wow.
On the
Thinking
superhero
superheroes.
Wow.
There we go.
But the whole thing feels like a long drum roll that just escalates and escalates until it gets to the end. It goes,
That movie, by the way, and Whiplash, very great use of the drums.
I thought Miles Teller was the guy doing the drumming for
Right.
Birdman.
True. It's just a great movie. If you guys have a chance, if you haven't heard of it, you will, because once we hit Oscar season, you're going to know what it is. Now let's get into Fury here, because you guys both did a review on it. I'm going to go see it tomorrow because I really want to see it, because I hear mixed things. You guys loved it. I heard from that.
Alicia liked it. I loved it. To be fair, Alicia liked it. I loved it.
Okay, well, it's just is there a slow build? Is some of the acting, not the acting, but the dialogue maybe a little boring, and then when you get to the action, it really hits? That's what I was hearing.
The action scenes are so great, and the performances are what makes this movie, but it's kind of just a slice of life. So it's just a few days of this war. There's no real plot or real story.
Yeah, Alicia calls it a slice of life, and I call it a slice of death in the review, because that's sadly what it is. I mean, look, when it gives such a great viewpoint from what it actually must have felt like to be in one of those Allied tanks during World War II.
The moral dilemmas, and the tension.
and even just surviving in one of those things, how hot it was, and how when you're in those things, you're a target, you're a sitting duck, and as well built as they were, and how much they could sustain, even those things could only withstand so much before eventually you have to get out of the tank. You have to save yourself. You have to make that fight or flight distinction in your own head. And when you're part of a team, you're not able to think for an individual. You have to think what's best for the team and what's best for your side fighting this war. And I think that if you're not into war movies, the first hour can be a slow buildup. I was so into this film right from the start, and I think the last hour is going to blow you away.
Okay, and look here. This is one of the things in the contest for Kingpin. Mark Riley said there's going to be a tweet that goes out that you guys have to retweet and favorite. Okay, that's so retweet and favorite. And here it comes right now. The tweet is, "What movie are you going to see this weekend?" So make sure that you retweet that, favorite. Mark Riley will go through that later on, and we'll pick a winner to win Kingpin. Now, Josh, the Wildman Macuga, has a question that he wants to say. Yes, sir.
Because I love war movies.
Yes.
So if we give Saving Private Ryan a 5 out of 5, like hands down.
Sure.
What would we give in Schmo rank as comparison to Saving Private Ryan?
Well, if you watch our Fury review on the YouTube channel,
but
that's different
actually
from what he's
rated it.
asking.
What I'm asking you is, as compared to Saving Private Ryan, Mark.
Yeah.
What would you do with it?
It actually would be the way I schmoed, because if you give Saving Private Ryan a 5, I would give Fury, I'd say it's almost to that level, because you just get so into the story of these guys. And I think that Alicia's problem was that you didn't get to know them enough.
Yeah, you don't know any of their backstory at all. So I would give it probably a 3 if Saving Private Ryan is a 5.
Wow.
There's more story in Saving Private Ryan.
Well, we knew Shia LaBeouf's backstory is that he's in the tank and he doesn't really trust the tank because he's had so many problems with machines in the past, with vehicles, because they tend to come to life and they come from another place.
But what does he do? What does he do in this movie?
No.
Not real life.
He doesn't yell at any of them, and I don't think he ever goes no.
No, he never goes.
I think he's aware of that since the YouTube video.
He's really good in it, and Logan Lerman is fantastic.
Absolutely,
he plays the young soldier.
Okay, and then like Finstock was talking about too, there is that movie. Well, you guys, there's a review that Alicia and Mark. What's this flaming crap box?
It's wearing on my soul.
What's the name of this thing? We won't talk about it alone. But what's the name?
Called The Best of Me.
Okay, now you hate this movie.
I hate it because it's ruined my life
both hate this. Yes,
for the best.
You guys want revenge?
For 24 hours, I've just had this movie stewing since I had to sit through it, and it's hurting me.
Yeah. No, you normally hate this kind of crap in general, so when it sucks even worse.
I'm a little bit cynical.
What'd you give it?
But I gave it like a 1.3.
Wow, and you gave it a 1.
I gave it a 1 out of 5 schmoes. You can catch a review tomorrow morning. And I went on a rant on the radio, 95.5 KOS this morning. I apologize to any listeners I might have offended during said rant, but I had to get it out. I had to get it. I had to get a sweat going. I had to hit the bag in the basement a little bit.
I love The Notebook. The Notebook was great.
But that's what everyone says. That's the only thing that he's got, because they had Nick Cassavetes direct it.
The Sparks guy. He is the Michael Bay of romance, where he takes something that could be a good concept, and he made me believe in love for 30 minutes. And this guy's a serial killer, and I'll tell you why. It's because he doesn't want to make girls believe in love. He wants to trick them. He lures them into his cave when he says, "Oh no, love's real," and then boom, he stabs you in the back, and then he rips your guts out. Then he takes pictures of it and sends it to your family members before running over your puppy right in front of your driveway.
Brutal. All right, let's.
I
want before we go, because we're going to come back here in a second to talk about Marvel and DC with our hosts from said shows. But I want to take a couple calls from Schmoeville before we go to break, and that number is 424-253-0504. I want to talk to you guys about some of the movies that are coming out. I'm curious to what people are going to see, if anything, this week. Maybe people are going to go see Gun Girl again.
Now, what would you see though if you guys were movie fans, you hadn't seen any of these movies coming out?
Batman.
What really gets you?
Batman.
I mean,
okay. I'm a huge Michael Keaton fan.
If I was still if I was at Florida State and this thing comes out and I don't know all about,
you were still running your illegal boxing ring.
Yes.
And you only had $12 because it was a bad gate last week.
And I didn't know about all the smaller movies, and I didn't have the privilege of seeing a Birdman.
Yeah.
Fury.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a World War II guy. I want to see those movies. I want to see how it's delivered. And the thing with David Ayer for me is, I'm on the side of being a fan of David Ayer, but I do believe he's a little overrated. And the reason I say that is because if you look at his body of work, he wrote Training Day, which is awesome. Okay, he directed Sabotage. He directed End of Watch, which is really, if you think about it,
fantastic movie.
But End of Watch, up until this point, I haven't seen Fury, is the only movie that he really has on his resume that's really good that he directed.
Well, I think Fury will get you over.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's going to be doing Suicide Squad, which
that's
we'll
what we're going to talk about soon. Okay, let's get to the phone lines here. Hey, you're in Schmoeville. Who do we got?
Hey, this is Andrew.
What's up, Andrew? Andrew, so if you had a choice of seeing any of the movies this weekend, what would you pick?
Well, I'm going to go see Fury.
You are going to see Fury?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, how come?
Well, Birdman's not playing my local theater, so so Fury Field the only choice.
Yeah, and so why are you going to go see that? Is it the World War II aspect? Is it Brad Pitt?
Is it because it's not a Nicholas Sparks film?
Exactly.
That's correct, Mark. I do not like Nicholas Sparks. And I love Brad Pitt. He's a great actor.
Right.
He is.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for the call, man. I appreciate it.
Tweet us and let us know what you think of the movie, man. I can't wait to see people's reactions to Fury.
Yeah, let's take one more call before we go to break here. Hey, you're in Schmoeville. Who do we got?
Hey, this is Spencer.
Spencer, what's up, dude? So, Spencer, out of the movies coming out this week, what are you going to see?
Well, if I was old enough to get in, I'd definitely see Fury.
Fury, okay. So, and for what reasons?
Well, I was a huge fan of End of Watch, and I really like the cast, and I'm a huge fan of war movies and stuff like that.
Okay, now I'm trying to think of what would be a PG-13, because if you buy a ticket for the Book of Life, they may smell something fishy. So you got to go buy a ticket for something that's believable and then sneak into Fury. Yeah, and if you get kicked out, hey, it's just a cool thing to have on your resume. So try to sneak into Fury this weekend and let us know how it goes for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, great plan.
All right, thanks for the call. Okay, guys, thank you for calling in. When we get back, now our DC versus Marvel, a lot of news. We had so much news that came out this last 3 days.
We got news of appearances. Some guy's going to be in another guy's movie. Then we got a whole slate of films for the other side, and I can't wait to see them duke it out.
So when we get back from break from our Marvel show, Matt Key, if you haven't been watching Marvel movie news, you should be checking that out. And our show, DC movie news, which is debuting at the end of this month. Adam Gertler will be in studio, and they will be discussing which news had more of an impact after the break.
Hello, Schmoeville.
I'm Alicia Malone.
And I'm Scott Mance.
And we are from Profiles with Malone and Mance, an excellent show that you should all be checking out.
Every week on Profiles with Malone and Mance, we are going to look at our favorite directors, our favorite filmmakers, our favorite actors, all sorts of fun trivia. We're going to count down the best movies. What else we got on the show?
Fun guests. Lots of surprises.
A little trivia, a little quiz show action going on.
Have we convinced you yet? I hope so. If we have, please look up Profiles with Malone and Mance on iTunes. Subscribe, rate and review, and make sure to subscribe to YouTube/Schmoes Know Podcast for all the great podcasts that are happening on this network, but especially Profiles.
Profiles with Malone and Mance every week on the Schmoes Know Network.
Hey guys, Maria Menounos here, and I want to share my newest book, The Every Girl's Guide to Diet and Fitness, with you. Basically, every woman always stops me and asks me how I lost 40 pounds, so I decided to put it all in one book. Everything I did to lose 40 pounds step by step, and how you can too, is in here. I did it with no time, no money, and no willpower, and now I'm going to show you how to do it too. You can pre-order it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Target, Walmart, wherever books are sold, and it's out June 3rd. So I hope you guys love it. I hope it helps you in your weight loss journey, and please, please tweet me and update me on your progress at Maria Menounos. Thanks.
So we go now?
What up, Schmoeville?
What's up, Schmoeville? It's Josh Macuga here.
Steve Simone.
We are the hosts of Guilty Movie Pleasures here on the Schmoes Know Network.
And it's pretty much the funnest show ever because we just talk about the best movies ever.
Yes, exactly. Movies where explosions, there aren't supposed to be explosions, and karate kicks where they just might not be.
Yeah, but every time you watch them, it makes you happy.
Exactly. So tune into us, subscribe to our channel, rate us, like us on iTunes.
5 stars.
All the time. And like Jack Burton said,
what you gonna do, Schmoeville, when Macuga and Simone run wild on you?
Nailed it.
Now, how dare us for forgetting this hero? And this was tweeted in by at Josh Quevedo. Again, the ultimate hero, Rocky Balboa. How do you forget Rocky Balboa? You know who Rocky Balboa is? Yeah. No, what planet are you from? Are you really not? How do you not know Rocky?
Of course.
Okay.
But
how many?
I actually running up the steps. I hadn't seen any of it, and I actually met Sly, and I hadn't seen any of his movies, so he made me watch.
That's great.
I love the fact that he made you watch. Can we
were you
talk
up for
about when?
Expendables or something?
No, can we talk about when you met him?
I was like 18.
Oh, okay.
17.
Yeah, how do you meet him? Whoa, look at that.
I was doing
Did you guys go on a
photo
date?
shoot. No, I was doing a photo shoot.
Did you go on a date with him? Be honest with us.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Hey, wait,
Are you
were
kidding me?
17?
I was in Italy. I was 17.
Jerry Orbach
Get
was
past-
needed at that moment.
get past the shrimp.
You were 17. Did Winger write that song about Trisha?
Right. I love
She's only
She tried it for a second, say no. Yeah, of course I did. I went out with Rocky.
Dude, I'd go on a date with Sly right now.
Yeah, you're like, come on.
I'm talking about getting a pinky from Hong Kong, and you can't even.
Just let it. Wow. Sorry. So you went out with Sly, which is cool. So you're 17 years old.
Where'd you
and
go?
out
Like
with
something
Sly.
like Olive Garden, classy, somewhere like that.
I don't remember.
One of his
I dated him
restaurants.
for a
It was in his
while.
living-
It was
really?
Wait, what?
Wait, you go throw in something like that. How long did you guys date? You were 17?
off and on for like 2 years.
Wow, I didn't even know that.
No, I mean, I wouldn't call it dating. I was.
Whoa, we're getting really heavy in this show. Yeah.
Okay, let her tell the story. Let's hear her out.
I was in. He was filming Cliffhanger, and I was doing a photo shoot. And the
Oh, I love that
photographer
movie.
knew him.
Yeah.
So, I think I was. There was a bunch of girls at the table, and I think I was the one that didn't really. That
Right.
He was across the table, and so
That
I was
pissed
the
And
one-
that, no, it probably made it
I
more
was the one
attractive.
that-
Rudy.
Yeah, Jatay's definitely watching the Patriots game right now.
No, well, he should have been watching that clip that you showed. It was a classic moment from our show, and that was when we got Trisha Helfer to admit that she dated Sylvester Stallone when she was 17. That was
Yeah,
awesome.
it just came out naturally, and then we started doing the math, and you could kind of see the collective looks on our faces like, we need to talk about this.
So good. That was a great moment. If you want to check out classic episodes of the show, you can just go to youtube.com/schmoesknowpodcast. Subscribe there. You can get all that, and you can also get all of the great shows, the network shows that we have, and that's what's so great about tonight's debate.
Is that we have the stars of one of those shows currently on the network, and another one that's going to be debuting later on this month.
Yeah.
Should we bring them out?
Well, let's first of all
Set the table for these nice young lads.
So, if you guys follow movie news, then you obviously know the news that broke the internet. The first story, Mark and I, we both did videos on both of these stories.
Christian basically came over to my place and he's like, look, we got to shoot about this right away. I rolled out of bed. I saw that Captain America 3 was going to be featuring Iron Man in the film.
Yep.
And we're like, yeah, we got to talk about that. And then the next day, DC comes back with their own haymaker, announcing their upcoming slate of movies that includes not a one, but a 2 Justice League movies.
There's so much going on in the world of comic book movies right now, and you and I know our stuff, but
we're very, very talented
we are.
and handsome to boot.
We are, but we don't know comic book movies the way that these dudes do. I mean, they really do. That's why they got
their own show on their network.
Exactly. So this is going to be fun. We're going to have two guys kind of having their side, and you guys can also, I want you guys to chime in and say who's making the better argument. What we're going to have them do is, whose story was the bigger story? Was it the DC slate? Was it the fact that the Iron Man being in Captain America 3 is really going to set up the Civil War angle, and that's going to start a whole new phase.
Yeah, this is going to be like a really fun forensics class in high school. I have a question before we bring these young lads in. I know Matt Key. I'm pretty good buddies with him.
I know Matt Key.
I don't know Adam that well. Are they buddies, or are they frenemies, or are they going to be at each other's throat? Is it going to get uncomfortable here?
I don't think they've ever met, and we're going to find out, because Matt Key has been known to throw down some stuff.
Yeah, and I'm one of his buddies, and he insults me on a regular basis.
He does, and he kind of reminds me of Adam Driver with the wittiness and the look in general. So we're going to have, but he doesn't have the facial hair, so I know he doesn't like that, but it doesn't matter because he's called me Dan Cook in the past, so we're even.
A lot of people have called you Dan Cook in the past. Congrats
true.
on your special airing tomorrow night on Showtime.
Thank you, Topher. Let's go now, and we will talk to our hosts. Let's bring him in first on the show.
In this corner,
he has been part of the popular show on the Schmoes Know Network that you can find every either Monday or Tuesday, depending on when they shoot it. Let's make sure that we give a proper introduction to one of the hosts of Marvel Movie News. Please welcome Matthew Key.
Hey, there he is.
Matthew Key. There he is. Matthew Key is a baller. He knows his stuff. This is not someone I would want to go up against in a debate when it comes to comic book movies, but I don't have to do that.
I don't want to go up against him in a debate simply because I'd have to adjust the mic stand if he went first, because he's a tall, hulking beast of a man, and I'm a normal size human.
Yes,
and so he's going to be defending Marvel. He's going to be defending Captain America, having Iron Man in his third film.
Well, Gary Busey will welcome you to the show.
Welcome, Adam Gertler. Where are you? We have to argue with...
No, Gary, we're talking to Matt Key.
Gary, give Adam a proper introduction too.
Okay. This next opponent here, he likes to chew the toes off.
Gary, you're going to have to get Kristian to introduce him. Because
all right. Coming to the stage now, we would now say he's going. You don't know this show yet because it has not debuted, but we had him and his co-host John LaQuasto on the couch talking about DC movies. They know their stuff. They are enthusiastic to get going at the end of this month, and he is going to make a debut here going against the madman, the Sorcerer Supreme himself.
Okay, we're kissing Keys.
He's the Sorcerer Supreme.
Let's get Gertler out here.
You got to give the man respect because if he comes out, Adam Gertler of DC Movie News. All right, Adam sits down. This is going to be fun.
This is going to be very exciting, and I got to ask Adam a really quick question before we get going here.
Yes.
How many guys did he have to go through before you settled on Johnny LaQuasto?
Actually, he was assigned to me.
LaQuasto is one of my dear friends, and he's a hysterical comic. We're talking about fictional heroes. He's actually in Afghanistan right now telling jokes for our troops. So thank you for doing that, Johnny. Can't wait to see him on your show, Adam. And you got to be so excited when you read this news about the DC slate.
Well, I heard there was some news. I don't really know what you're talking about. I've been avoiding spoilers. So
you're not going to have a good argument.
Beer here.
Yeah.
So
they know.
I showed up.
I know. Cobster messed up.
We had Roxy complain about that last week.
Yeah. Okay, so here's how we're going to do it. So first, the news comes out about Captain America 3 and that Downey apparently is going to be in this, starting the Civil War line. Why is this a more important storyline, and why is it more of an impact than DC's entire movie slate?
Well, I think a big part of it is that Marvel announced their movie slate like a long time ago. They're just like, no, we've already got it. DC, this is just like DC's playing catch up at this point. They're like, oh my God, what is Marvel doing? They're doing what? Oh, we better do the same thing. So like what Marvel has now done with the Civil War thing is they're saying, oh, not only are we doing all of these movies, but you thought they were going in one direction. We're going to just do like, oh, now they're fighting this bad guy. Now they're fighting this bad guy. What they're saying is, nope. We're eradicating everything that you thought you knew, and we're giving you Age of Ultron, where there's going to be so much destruction that there's two Avengers teams that split out of it. Where are we going? We don't know. We're crazy. We did Guardians of the Galaxy.
It's a brilliant idea on Marvel's part because we all know how bad they've been doing with the villains in their films. So by taking the strongest part of their films, which were the heroes, and pitting them against each other, it makes sense.
Oh, I like where this is going. Now, can I ask a question? Because you mentioned DC trying to play catch-up. Speaking of playing catch-up, I need to make sure that, are we definitely doing the Civil War storyline in this next film, or is that still just prognostication? And is there a way that they would not do the Civil War storyline and keep everything hunky-dory amongst the superheroes?
I don't think they're going to keep everything hunky-dory just because, Steve Rogers is on the run from the government more or less now because S.H.I.E.L.D.'s dissolved and the government doesn't trust S.H.I.E.L.D.
And then Stark might have something to do with Ultron being formed in the first place.
Yeah, and, Stark is fighting his own demons and everything else. So, like, in a redemption, he's like, oh, I'm gonna capture Steve Rogers. I'm gonna fix all of this registration stuff that we've got to go do now. I don't know that it's going to be as big as it was in the comics, but that's simply because Marvel hasn't introduced 1,000 characters. They only have so much room in every movie to announce that many, to show off that many characters.
All right, we'll let Adam retort to that, and then we're going to ask Adam a question about this DC slate. So, do you have anything in regards to what Matt just said?
Well, no, I think, look, Marvel's obviously been very successful what they're doing. They keep dumping lots of money on Robert Downey Jr.'s, front lawn, so he keeps doing more movies. I think that's great. But,
back up the truck. Back up.
Exactly. So, he's doing fine, and they're great. But, look, people are very excited to see Batman and Superman on the same screen. I think, you do have a point. For Warner Brothers, DC, it's bottom of the ninth. Okay, maybe there's one out. Okay, the bases are loaded right now.
I'm an Orioles fan. You got to use this baseball analogy.
Okay,
right now.
so they could just hit it out the park right now. That's what they have to do. It's
So what would you equate then
up.
in that baseball analogy? What would you equate this
I don't really
announcement?
follow sports.
But that's fine. But that's fine. But that actual lineup that they announced. What is that? Is that a triple? Is that a home run?
I think they're set up for a grand slam. I think that's what happens when the bases are loaded,
Yes,
right?
it is.
So when someone hits a home run in this,
So this was DC. This wasn't maybe the home run. This was just them getting all their pieces in play and ready to knock it out of the park. But are we not going to know if they did until we actually see Batman versus Superman kick off?
When we see that film and it is as good as I have all faith it's going to be, then that will be as good as the connecting the bat. Right, the bat hits the ball. How appropriate.
Let me ask you a question here real quick on going on that, Adam. That was another good sports analogy, by the way. Is that we know who Iron Man is, we know who Captain America is. We've seen them in these movies. Everybody loves them, even before the films came out. When you see the DC slate, there's the Suicide Squad, which not a lot of people know about. Maybe that is DC's Guardians of the Galaxy version. And I mean, I know that the comic book fans know who they are. And then you see something like an Aquaman, where it's like this guy's been made fun of a lot.
Entourage did no service for this film. Right. Exactly.
Jason Momoa, just the announcement of him being cast, I think helps it a little bit.
But I want to give Matt Key a bit to retort off of what he just said there in regards to the home run and all that stuff too. Like, do you think that
I don't understand why he's saying the bases are loaded. I mean, all they've done is they had Man of Steel, which was, I mean, they robbed the character of his entire soul. They were like, hey, watch this. We're going to destroy Metropolis. I don't understand how you're saying that the bases are loaded there. I think that they've gone up to bat, and I think they struck out.
Whoa. Okay.
You think that was a total strikeout? You think that announcing the slate of films was a total swing and a miss?
No. I think that Man of Steel was a strikeout. I think it was a commercial success.
So you don't think that by them this is because the Nolan Batman storylines, they don't count anymore, even though they were successful. Yeah. But Man of Steel was what launches the DC universe. Yeah. So you don't think
this is their Iron Man, yeah.
So you don't think that that's a good starting point now, even to set the world?
Sure, I mean to set the world, I guess, but it didn't do the same thing that Iron Man did. I got out of Iron Man so jazzed for whatever was coming next. I was like, Edward Norton's playing Hulk, done. I'm gonna go watch it. Don't care, done. Can't wait to see what they're gonna do. Because at the end of that film,
you were excited.
Yeah, at the end of that film, Fury's like, you have a hood of the Avengers Initiative, and everyone's like, wow, my God! And Man of Steel, it's like, yeah, I destroyed Metropolis. So there's that.
Yes, which sets up a world in which we need a Justice League, which I think, when you see how this all plays out through the long game, you'll look back and people have already talked about all the seeds that have been laid in Man of Steel. Like there's rumors of the Aquaman, catching Clark in the water, things like that. By the way, the Momoa casting, I think, is one of the best things about this whole thing.
Yeah, you're not going to find a fight on this panel. I thought that was...
You know what's really great about that is that Momoa is so big and strong. Like when they cast him as Aquaman, you're like, okay, they mean business with Aquaman. Okay.
Yeah.
There's no joke here.
I hope they don't just cut his hair and put him in an orange and green outfit is the only thing. I want to see that trident, hand lopped off Aquaman.
Right. You just don't want to see him be the guy that's like, hey, do you guys mind if our buddy comes to the party too? He hangs out with fish all day.
Right. He talks to fish. He can swim real fast.
He's going to be furious. Yeah, he's going to be an angry, pissed off Aquaman.
He's like someone who gets made fun of all the time.
Well, and they need to prove him. They need to really establish that he's something to be. And by casting Momoa, you do that, I think. But let's go over this slate of DC, and we'll actually let Matt talk about it first to see what you don't think is great about this slate, or what you think that maybe they're doing right or wrong. And that's Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice is March 25th, 2016, which we all knew.
Buy your tickets now.
All right. Suicide Squad is August 5th, 2016. Then the standalone Wonder Woman comes out June 23rd, 2017. Then Justice League Part 1, November 12th, 2017, followed by The Flash in March of 2018. Aquaman, July 2018, which is very interesting if you think about it. Shazam, April 2019. Justice League Part 2, only a year and a half, June 14th, 2019. Cyborg, April 3rd, 2020. Green Lantern Reboot, June 19th, 2020. And we also reported on Schmoeville.com as well that there is going to be a standalone Batman and Superman somewhere in between the 2018-2020 area.
So we know our show will be on for a long time to come.
Yeah, exactly. So you hear all those. What stands out? What worries you?
They're all characters. I don't care. Am I excited to see all of them? Of course, it's a comic book movie, but there's nothing spectacular or unexpected about any of that, except for maybe the Suicide Squad one and maybe the Cyborg one, and all of those are so far down the line. There's no telling if they're going to stay on. Like, I don't know that Warner Brothers has a good track record with. Right. No, we are going to definitely do all of these things. Like when Marvel announces something, it happens.
That's an interesting point. Now, so Adam, how would you say no with DC? Is it a little ambitious to announce this many movies when, like Matt says, Marvel has proven themselves and is able to announce a slate like this, as where DC only has one movie that did well, but is not as loved so far? And if this movie Suicide Squad in August, because we know Batman v Superman is going to do well financially, we know it will. If Suicide and Wonder Woman bomb, they're in trouble with this slate.
It is, yeah, there is a potential pitfall there, absolutely. And Suicide Squad, you've heard so far, they're going after A-list directors. I'm excited about David Ayer, possibly directing, and if you look at his IMDb page, there's nothing after Fury, which makes me think that he's been on this project a while, and they've just been keeping this as a little bean they've been waiting to bust out, and they've spilt it now, so I'm really, really excited about what happens there.
When you get further down into this list, too, when you see the Justice League and then the Justice League Part 2, and they're kind of sandwiched together, do you think that's going to help or hurt the overall DC slate of films that you had these two movies coming out that Kristian thinks they might have to shoot them back to back before the first one comes out?
I think they're going to be doing a lot of that. I mean, it seems like they're taking advantage of this technique that, Peter Jackson used, and again, he used about shooting these huge movies back to back. It's financially advantageous.
We got everybody here. Let's go ahead and get the shot.
These actors have schedules, so it's like if you're going to fit in this solo Superman and Batman film, I know Cavill's not busy, but Affleck's pretty busy. Right. So how are you going to get all this Affleck? So they got the scheduling is really amazing,
Now, what do you think in regards to basically the same question I just asked Adam? Do you think that they're going to stick? I know that was your initial point, but do you think they're going to stick to all these? Do you think Justice League?
No.
No.
I think they have plans in place that they want to do, but I think that DC flinches, or Warner Brothers. I think they flinch. I mean, they proved that when. Marvel announced that they were going to do Captain America 3 on the exact same day they were originally going to release Batman v Superman, But
I don't think this new Warner Brothers CEO, he hasn't been in there that long. I think he's fairly recent. I think they've been taking their time because they've been planning this move. This guy was like, look, we're not going to stutter step anymore. We're not going to Green Lantern and maybe. We're not going to half-ass it anymore. We have to come up with a plan. And if it means that it's going to take 3 years until you see Superman on screen again, it's because we're going to be doing it right. And I think everybody will agree that if they get it right, you're not going to think, oh, why did it take so long to get that sequel? They want to set it up.
How important is Wonder Woman in the whole scheme of this? Because she has to be so good in Batman v Superman that we're going to be able to buy her in a standalone Wonder Woman film. Because let's just say that the Suicide Squad movie isn't the hit the Guardians of the Galaxy was for Marvel, and that people are kind of iffy on it. You need that huge comeback pitch, and right now it looks like it's all on her shoulders.
Yeah, I mean, I hope they have a tremendous plan for Wonder Woman, because we know they tried to relaunch a show a couple years ago, and that didn't work. But I have my own feelings about trying to do superhero stuff on a TV scale anyway. I did love the Linda Carter show. I was a big fan of that.
I liked her in those Contacts commercials. She got blue eyes, man.
But that brings up a point here too, because for Marvel, you look at Guardians of the Galaxy, which is an unknown property, and it just crushes, far exceeding most people's expectations. Okay, so even if Ant-Man, which I think is going to do really well, even if Ant-Man doesn't do well, they can afford it. Because even if Ant-Man doesn't tie into the mythology of, if it does a little bit but just doesn't, maybe people don't go to see it, Avengers 2 clearly will, and now we have this Civil War storyline that will propel them. I feel that Wonder Woman being in Batman v Superman, if Batman v Superman doesn't work, I'm not talking financially here, then you're in some serious crap.
Yeah, you're screwed. If Batman v Superman isn't awesome, DC's screwed, right?
That's why there's an out in my baseball analogy. There's at least one out there. Notice that.
Right. But do you think that they would make this slate if they didn't have supreme confidence in the script? Who they got an Oscar-winning screenwriter to write the script. They have now Ben Affleck. Not only he's going to be adding his 2 cents is directing as well too, and we all know what he can do directing wise. So I think they have that on their side. But I want to spin it back to Marvel here, because we talked a little bit about the Civil War thing, but what does that do? Because you have this whole Thanos thing that's going to happen. Yeah. They're going to introduce
eventually.
Right?
Eventually, when?
Please take the floor.
I'm just it's like they're dangling this little Thanos carrot along, for quite some time, and I think we might see Apocalypse and Darkseid before Thanos even comes to play.
Well, I think we definitely are going to see Apocalypse first. I mean, he's in the X-Men movie from Fox, right?
Oh, I was talking about Apocalypse.
The planet. You're talking about Apocalypse.
Nice. Okay, a little back and forth here. I like the jabbing. So, do you think, in regards to Thanos not being in, do you think that as a fan of, I know you're a big Thanos fan. So do you like that they're taking their time with him? By the time that it's going to make an impact when they finally. Where does he play in the Civil War storyline?
He doesn't play in the Civil War.
Okay.
Well, in the comics, he doesn't play in it, in it at all. In the comics, it's just the heroes bashing against one another.
And why does he need to take over any other worlds anyway? He seems content sitting in a floating throne with nothing around. Doesn't seem to have opulent taste. He doesn't have throngs of women. He seems content. He's got to go take over a planet just to sit in his floating.
He's a single guy, and a lot of times women cause more problems than they solve. So I think that he just likes floating around, going to whatever bar he wants to. He doesn't have a woman calling him. When are you going to be in this movie? I don't know. I'll get on it.
I thought this was our debate. Okay.
No, he wants the Infinity Gems. He doesn't want a planet. He wants the universe.
But that's a good point though too. They keep setting up these gems. They've been doing it for the last 3 or 4. When are we going to start to get a little bit more? We finally got him in Guardians. Do you think that because? I guess that's a good point. As far as Thanos, they're setting him up as the big baddie, like the guy who really causes the downfall of the Avengers in a certain aspect.
Well, it seems like they're setting up Ultron to be the downfall of the Avengers.
Right. So why introduce Thanos? Is what I'm asking.
What I think is going to happen is either Avengers 3 or Avengers 4, Thanos is going to come in and present them with a problem where they all have to get along.
Okay.
I think he's going to be.
So he's going to ultimately be the responsible for stopping the Civil War, maybe.
Yeah,
okay.
I think so. I think he'll come to Earth and I own everyone, and the Avengers will be like, look, we've got to put our differences aside and fight together. And I think that'll be a big redemptive moment in the entire universe that all of us have been looking forward to.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt what Marvel has done so well is the fact that the studio is born out of the comics brain trust, the House of Ideas. They're behaving like the comics do, and I think that's really smart. They feel like Marvel Comics.
Can DC do that?
DC has to do that.
Yeah.
I will say this. Say what you think about Zack Snyder's films, okay? I think no one makes a comic book on screen as beautiful as he does. I think 300 is incredible. I think The Watchmen looks perfect.
Don't skip over the Owl movie.
I don't know what you're talking about. The
Owl movie. It looked good.
When I saw that opening scene in The Watchmen when the comedian's getting his ass kicked and just the whole treatment of Rorschach, I'm like, I want to see this guy handle Batman because I think we're finally going to see, as much as I love Nolan's movies, I think we're finally going to see Batman moving and feeling with the weight and brute force that we've been waiting to see. That's what I think Snyder can do. When you saw Superman hovering and floating, he had real weight. I mean, it felt like Kal-El was on the screen, and I'm a huge fan of the Christopher Reeve movies, and now I watch him now and I'm like, all right, he doesn't need to turn the planet back in time. The guy's got enough powers. He doesn't need to have laser beams and giant things.
I mean, we all like Richard Pryor,
right?
I'll tell you what Adam is selling me on, though. Even if he hasn't sold me on everything with DC, he's selling me on your show that's going to be on the network. You're definitely the right guy for this gig,
Well, what do you... So I'll give you a retort on that, and then I want you guys to do a final statement, and then we're going to have Schmoeville call in and say who they thought won the debate today. So first you get to retort on what Adam just said, and then we'll let you go ahead and do your final statement.
I think Zack Snyder's a great filmmaker. I think he makes a beautiful film. I just wish there was better story, and what you're saying is Man of Steel set up that DC's got to do a comic book movie, but it doesn't seem like Warner Brothers is willing to do that. I mean, they've even gone on record and said, no, none of our films are going to have any humor in it at all. And comic books have humor to them, so just the thought that they would just immediately steal all of that out of that,
somebody throw a pie.
It just feels like they've set themselves up for failure because they're making it all we're serious and gritty.
So you're saying no Mr. Mispitalik is showing up anytime soon?
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
I got to ask you boys this question really quick because we're short on time, but it's still my network, Key. So I think that Marvel, one of the big things they have in their pocket is that they have these post-credit scenes where you get teased about the next movie, like, oh, what was that? I want to see more of that. Is DC going to do that, and does DC have to do that to keep the fans involved from film to film?
I don't think they should start to do that because I think they'll be aping Marvel too much if they do that. I think what DC DC does well is putting the Easter eggs within the film.
Like the Wayne Enterprises
People
satellite.
are still going back over Man of Steel and finding things that are in there.
Yeah, I was curious how they're going to do that. Okay, let's close it out here. We'll let Matt, you go first. You can address Schmoeville, and let them know why the Marvel news was the bigger news story of the week, and then Adam will do the same. Then we'll have Schmoeville call in at 424-253-0504 and tell us who was the winner.
And
of
then
the debate.
one of you dies.
Yeah,
It's gonna be really cool.
Don't tell them that yet. It's afterwards.
I have a pen. I have a pen.
A bunch of a-holes. Okay, ready?
All right, look, here's the deal. Marvel announced that they're going to do the Civil War, which was a great comic book series to begin with. And what that's going to do is completely shake up the universe to what they've already done. So what you've come to love about Marvel, they're going to say, hey, look, we're going to add even more to it. We're shaking it up even more. Now our heroes are fighting each other, but there's also villains. There's so much more drama. There's so much more at stake. There's so much more emotion to it, just raw emotion that everyone has to deal with. Tony Stark and Steve Rogers are friends. They made up in Avengers, and now they're at odds with each other, and the audience is going to want to see them make up, and they're not going to be able to for a couple movies, and I think that's going to go over all the movies. I think that's just going to shake everything up.
Throwing the bricks.
All right. And I think DC's like, hey, we're making movies.
All right, Adam.
Okay, the best thing that any of these comic book movies have going on is mythology of 50, 60 years of source material, okay? Nobody has better written stories than the DC universe, and that's a fact. If you're a comic book fan and you want to turn on a non-comic book fan, you give him one or two books, or you give him both books. You give him Watchmen, you give him Dark Knight Returns. Done, okay? That's not even up for debate. Second thing, I want to put this little pill in your brain. Just think about it, something to put on there. They removed Shazam till 2019. Why? Because I think Shazam is going to tie into things. The Shazam, he's got the power of Zeus. They just announced Wonder Woman. She's a child of Zeus. That's going to tie in. Greek gods, mythology, Clash of the Titans. Come on!
All right.
I loved everything about that, except you ended it with a movie that's really not that good, Clash of the Titans.
The first one. All right, guys. So this is where you guys come in, because right after this, we're going to get right into the Ultimate Schmoedown. So at 424-253-0504, Jete, we got somebody calling in. All right. Hey, you're in Schmoeville. Who do we got?
Hey, it's OG Allen calling in from Georgia. How's it going here?
Hey, man. Okay, so you just heard the final debate between Adam and Matt. Who won the debate?
Well, I think DC's got it.
DC's got it. Okay, there's one. We'll do best of three.
Yeah.
Best of five.
Best of five. I like that.
All right, next one. Hey, you're in Schmoeville. Who do we got? Hey, you're in Schmoeville. Who do we got?
Hey, this is Matt from Benson.
Hey, Matt. So, Matt, who won the debate? Matt Key for the Marvel side or Adam for DC?
Matt.
For Marvel. Okay.
1-1.
1-1. There you go. Okay. All right.
Thank you, Matt.
Next
Matt's
call.
Sticking together.
Yeah, you Matts.
So we're neck and neck. Okay. Hey, you're in Schmoeville. Who do we got?
We got Noah Outlaw from Houston.
Hey, Noah. So who won the debate? Was it Adam for DC or Matt for Marvel?
Well, I gotta say DC.
Wow, Adam too. Look at this. All right.
You know Marvel's win. I think Marvel's. I think you guys are both great. And I'm not saying who I like better. I think you guys are both awesome. I think Marvel's gonna.
It's best
win.
of five.
Yeah.
It's best of five. Okay, here we go. You ready?
Are you influencing the
Hey, you're in Schmoeville. Who do we got?
Hey, it's Rosika from Maryland.
All right, Rosika. So who's got this? Is it Adam for DC or Matt for Marvel?
You know, I'm not a huge Man of Steel fan, and I generally like Marvel movies better. And I love you, Matt Key, but I'm gonna say DC.
DC wins. Adam Gertler, the brand
What are you
new
doing?
Adam Gertler comes in and
Come on.
So this is the guy you want to watch at the end of October on DC Movie News, taking down the Titan, who is known as Matt Key.
You can already check out Matt Key's show on the Schmoes Network. At least you could before we now execute him here in studio on the Marvel Movie News show. Great debate, boys. Thank you guys so much for dropping by.
Good stuff.
And look, again, we're all buddies on this panel. We all want to see all of these movies. I'm very excited to see everything that DC and Marvel have. I want to see everything that Image Comics brings to the table. Let's have that Death Blow movie.
All right, well, now what we're going to do is we're going to bring Alicia back to the table. Thank you, boys. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel to catch those shows, youtube.com/schmoesnopodcast. I am going to now go get ready for the Ultimate Schmoedown. No break here.
Costume change.
Yeah, and then Riley will give a couple, maybe a winner or two if we can pick a winner. Okay, great. And then we will start the.
You just go get ready. You just go get ready.
All right.
So now Christian Harloff is entering his private quarters. This is the moment before the Ultimate Schmoedown when you have a moment to yourself, Alicia. You get to relax. You get to see just how big those butterflies in your stomach are. We get to the Ultimate Schmoedown, what did you think of our Marvel versus DC debate?
I liked it. It got heated. great. It was fun to watch.
I know you're more of a classics kind of gal when it comes to movie watching. Where do you fall in allegiance with? Are you more excited about Marvel and Iron Man and Captain America, or maybe some of these DC slate movies that are coming out that you haven't heard of as much?
I think DC. Yeah, I want to see more from DC.
I think that if I had to, I mean, look, and we played this game before, that if you're at a movie theater and you're looking at the marquee and one says Avengers Age of Ultron and one says, and I know they're not coming out the same weekend, but if you get to see either Avengers 2 or Batman v Superman, there is not a movie not named Star Wars that I'm paying money to see over Batman v Superman. Because I kind of know what I'm getting with Avengers. Even if they like each other, they don't like each other. It's going to be a great story and I'm going to really like that movie. Batman v Superman is something that I can't comprehend how awesome that could be. Even though I didn't love Man of Steel.
Yeah.
You know, I really hope that movie lives up to the hype.
Yeah, even though I'm not a comic book fan, I just didn't grow up reading comic books. It blows my mind a little to think of Batman versus Superman.
It's really a good time to be a movie fan. I know that the movies you love, we got the 30s and you got the 40s and it's
50s
and the 50s.
especially.
What is your
My
favorite
jam.
movie of all time?
Favorite movie of all time? Well, if we're talking about classics, it's Rear Window.
I
Hitchcock. love Hitchcock,
good.
but-
There might be a Hitchcock question on the Ultimate Schmoedown tonight.
I know, and I'll probably forget it if it was asked me because I'm terrible at trivia.
Well, let's give you a second to breathe then. Jate, we need to take a couple calls from Schmoeville because we got to see who is going to win the DVD, the Blu-ray of Kingpin, the special edition. I hope that I am the next caller. I don't think I am. Ladies and gentlemen, you are in Schmoeville. Who do we got? Hello, you're in Schmoeville. Who do we got? Why do you only turn the phones on for Kristian? When Kristian wants to answer the phone, you always let the person through. When I want to be the guy that takes the phone call, hey, you're in Schmoeville. Who do we got? Well, you're killing me here, Jate. I'm the guy that goes to bat for you. I took you to see The Equalizer.
You want me to announce one winner at least while we're waiting?
Yeah, you know what, Jate? We don't even need a phone call. Just turn on Mark Riley's mic if you'll do that for me.
Is that there? It is.
I think he's still upset that I gave him that hard Van Damme question last week.
I think so. All right, so I picked a random tweet. I literally spun the roulette wheel and picked Chester Cheetah at Sebastian Sierra 1. You, my friend, have won a Blu-ray special edition of Kingpin.
Oh, my God. What a great prize to win randomly. Chester Cheetah, congratulations. And I believe we're also giving away a Ripped Apparel t-shirt, if I'm not mistaken.
I wasn't aware of this.
We're going to give away a Ripped Apparel t-shirt, so I want you guys to go ahead and tweet in. I want you guys to tweet, who do you think won the Marvel versus DC debate, and we're going to pick one of those tweets to give away a Ripped Apparel t-shirt to. In the meantime, I'm gonna try to do this again. I think that now we have an Iron Man, Captain America, Civil War relationship going on. Jate, I know you're watching the Patriots game. I know it's very exciting. Can I please trouble you to put a call through to me? Hey, you're in Schmoeville. Who do we got?
Hey, man, it's Tony from Kentucky. What's going on?
Tony from Kentucky. Great say you got there, Tony. Who do you think is going to win the Ultimate Schmoedown? Is it going to be Josh the Wildman Macuga or Darth Harloff?
Man, I love the Wildman, but I gotta go with Harloff.
It's probably the right call.
Safe bet.
So if your boy wins, you're getting a Blu-ray of Kingpin. That's pretty exciting. And then let's get one more phone call in here, Jate. While we're chilling, this guy's gonna get sad with Macuga, so I don't know. Okay, hey, welcome to Schmoeville. Who do we got?
This is Chris from Missouri.
Chris from Missouri. Congrats on your Royals beating my Orioles. You are going to be saddled with Josh Macuga to win the Ultimate Schmoedown. If he wins, then you're going to get a Blu-ray of Kingpin. Are you having faith in the Wildman right now?
I am now.
It wasn't exactly a resounding yes, but we'll try it. All right, so the stage has been set. All that we need now is to get the competitors into battle.
Yes, and what are their entrances going to be like? I'm so worried.
These entrances have been fantastic.
Especially
it's snowballed.
Harloff. He just keeps topping himself. every
Harloff
time.
keeps murdering more studio members as he enters with each passing week. So let's get his competitor in here first.
Okay.
I'm happy to announce that competing against Christian Harloff is going to be a man. He just keeps throwing the upsets, and he keeps surviving to the next round, survive and advance. And here he is in the Final Four. You guys know him as Cobster described, the greatest dancer on earth. Please welcome to the cage, Josh, the Wildman Macuga.
Very suave.
Just gonna let him dance here for a little bit. It's Alicia. I thought he was going for a James Bond kind of thing, but it looks like he just wanted to wear a tux and dance to "Color Me Bad."
The name is Man. Wild Man.
Josh Macuga coming up here and have a seat on the couch. You're looking great in your tux. Didn't bother to tie your tie. That's all right. It's not a clip-on. It's very hard. And you know it's going to get intense here. 3 rounds of very intense trivia coming at you. Do you think you can handle the power that is Darth Harloff?
I mean, I've been around way worse. So I'm very confident in my performance this evening. I don't have any nervousness, any anxiety. I'm here to perform, and you know me, Mark. I come to win. Okay, I'm from the fighting city of Pittsburgh. Okay, we have 6 Super Bowls, 3 Stanley Cups, multiple World Series, none since 1979. But I don't care about that.
And it was the setting for the Van Damme film, Sudden Death.
That is correct.
Which Tate does not know. Now,
also striking distance. Don't forget.
Your competitor is going to be. He's one of the Schmoes guys. You guys know him. You love him. And as I'm reading this, it's coming across my desk just now. Apparently, I am not introducing Christian Harloff tonight.
Oh, really?
I've been sidelined.
Who's going to do it?
I'm not. Apparently, Kristian is going to. He's the only man capable of introducing himself. So I guess I'll just stop.
If you smell what the Rock is cooking.
Oh boy. Here we go.
Finally, Darth Harloff has come back to Schmoeville. Well, first up, you had Colonel Upham running around, avoiding responsibility at all costs. Done.
Gone.
Next thing you had Finstock. Let's talk about Finstock. Making references at this woman, that woman. He ain't crap. That's why what's he doing? His candy ass is just bouncing around with a bull's crap mustache that he's got up his ass.
Jeez.
Done.
It's a good friend he's talking about.
Yeah.
And now we got the Wild Man. Coming around dancing like a monkey to some song no one gives a shit about.
Oh, Kristian.
Well, now he's got to ask this. Opponent, what is your name?
Josh Macuga.
It doesn't matter what your name is, because Darth Harloff is going to take you down. If you smell what Darth Harloff is cooking.
Okay. All right.
He definitely commits.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you this. I had just come across my desk that I was not going to be introducing Kristian. And after that intro, Kristian, I'd like to say thank you for not making me introduce that, because there's no way anybody else on earth could have done. Now, were you The Rock or were you Darth Harloff?
It's like a mixture of two.
Trock Harloff?
As where Ashton Kutcher would do an impression of The Rock,
Yeah.
I'm doing a Bale and doing both.
Oh my God! You're about to go to war against Macuga in the Ultimate Schmoedown. Not really war, but you still can't get
I was
around.
going to move there, but then this mic wasn't on, so I came back.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't because I didn't like you.
It shuts off when I'm not there.
Feels like that. Competitors, you guys know the score, and there's been enough smack talking online this week on various social media platforms, so we don't need to get into any of that. I just need to know, are you guys ready in the Ultimate Schmoedown?
We're ready.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, here's
as William Wallace said in Braveheart, or no, the other guy. We didn't go dressed up for nothing.
Nice. All right.
Not me, the other guy. You're going to do just fine in a movie trivia contest. You guys know how the game is played. In round 1, you guys each get 6 questions. You cannot steal from your opponent. You either get it right or wrong, you get a point. Round 2, it gets a little heavier, it gets a little more steely, and you have to ask a Schmo. Your Schmo can either be me or the lovely Miss Alicia Malone. And then the final round is going to be 1 question. You guys wager your points. Now, I will say that our intern Cody has he has all the categories, and he's going to be handing them to you. Not all the categories are actually questions on here, so we might have to do a little bit of doctoring. I'm just going to say that ahead of time.
Yeah.
Okay, round 1. Kristian, you are the favorite. You get to pick which number question you want to read from. Do you pick 1? Do you pick 2?
2.
You're going to go 2. Ooh, that's a tough one this week. Okay.
Good. Bring it on.
So now we go to Josh Macuga. You are going to be answering questions from number 1, and you are up first.
Okay.
In the category of animated films, Sleeping Beauty is known by 2 other names. What is one of the names? Dismissive as he usually is of women.
Jesus Christ.
Right.
Trying to be
I got all
less misogynistic.
5, 4,
Mark.
3.
Betty White. I don't know.
Betty White is incorrect.
Can I answer even though it doesn't count?
You have a daughter, so it doesn't count, but yes.
Aurora.
Or Rose. We would have accepted Rose. Okay.
What?
Action adventure.
Always? Or is that like a new thing? Gee, okay, fine.
Sleeping Beauty's been out for a little bit. Check it out in theaters.
For a while.
Robert Rodriguez came to prominence with his mariachi trilogy. Name the 3 films.
No, I have no idea.
El Mariachi.
Yeah, sure.
Desperado.
Okay.
And Once Upon a Time in Mexico.
Great. Congratulations, Robert.
I think Josh just wanted to dress up and dance.
Yeah.
In the category of science fiction, in the film Looper, how far into the past do loopers travel? This is a multiple choice question.
I've seen
Is
this
it
movie.
A, 20 years?
Okay.
Is it B, 30 years? Or is it C, 40 years?
B, 30 years.
That is correct. Give the man a point. He is on the board. Alicia, you will be asking Kristian his round 1 questions, and you'll be going from number 2 up top.
I could solve that.
All right. Well, it wouldn't be a Mark Ellis run Ultimate Schmoedown without some sort of controversy.
And
All right.
spilling water on multiple electronic devices. People hustle so we don't lose the entire studio.
Okay. Well, in animated.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Which Disney film features the blue fairy granting a wish?
Well, Sleeping Beauty. There is a blue fairy, so there absolutely is a blue fairy giving a wish.
I don't know if there's a blue
but she's
fairy or
not known as the
but-
Blue Fairy.
But she's. I mean, if you want Cinderella, is Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo. There's 2.
The answer was Pinocchio.
The Blue Fairy.
Yeah.
But that's a loaded question. I'm going to call that controversy.
Controversy.
Well, we're off to a rocking start here.
Okay.
Controversy.
Action adventure.
You need to show your daughter Pinocchio. It's a good movie.
Yeah.
Which film sees Arnold play a narc named Ivan Danko?
Red Dawn.
Yeah. Red Heat.
Yeah.
Oh, Red Heat. That's wrong.
That's
So it's
kind
like
of incorrect. Yeah.
Wrong.
Kind of incorrect.
That blue fairy thing screwed me
Yeah.
up. Yeah.
It's all right, shake it.
Watch Pinocchio. It's the Blue Fairy guy. I don't know what to tell you.
But there's 3 blue fairies.
It's the fairy godmothers and then the Blue Fairy. So yeah.
Okay.
I researched this crap. You think I wanted to do Pinocchio questions?
Thanks, Cobster. In sci-fi, who is the only person capable of getting Jurassic Park back online?
Newman.
We cannot
we accept Newman?
We will not accept Newman. No.
His name? Fuckface McGee. I don't know.
Whoa!
Wow.
We just went explicit.
Wow.
Harloff is upset.
Newman.
Wow.
The Newman character.
Dennis Nedry was his name.
Yes.
Played by Wayne Knight.
Would you have accepted Wayne Knight?
No, his name's Dennis Nedry. What character got Jurassic Park online? Everybody thinks I'm up here. They think they can just massage the rules. Josh, in comedy.
Okay.
In Beverly Hills Cop.
Okay.
How does Axel Foley escape the car sent to follow him?
He sticks a banana in the tailpipe.
Very, very
Hey,
good.
good back.
A move we've all used on a number of
I
occasions.
love Beverly Hills Cop, baby.
In rom-com, after a magical night, a female leaves it up to fate by writing her phone number in a book. In which romantic comedy?
Ow. A female writes her number in a book? In what kind of book? Can I ask that question?
No, you can hear the question I just asked.
Can you say it just one more time? Sorry. In one romantic.
After a magical night, a female leaves it up to fate by writing her phone number in a book. In which romantic comedy?
Serendipity?
That's correct.
Yay!
That is correct. And in the category of horror, which horror film was released first? The Exorcist, Psycho, Night of the Living Dead, or Rosemary's Baby?
Night of the Living Dead.
Psycho.
Dang.
It was Psycho.
Hitchcock, come on.
But not a bad run there. Not a bad run.
How many points? That 3?
You have a total of 3 points.
Okay.
All right.
Here we go.
Blue
Comedy.
Chris won't even look me in the eye. He's upset about that blue fairy.
He's red in the face.
Yeah.
Which comedy?
The blue fairy. Can I just point something out real quick?
no,
the
let's
fairy
do it after.
godmother
Do it after.
has a name. She has a name, and the blue fairy is known as the blue fairy. That's why that
What
was
about
the
the
answer.
one in Sleeping Beauty? Let's go.
Okay.
She did a name too.
Somebody look up what the blue fairy is called in Sleeping Beauty, so I don't have to do
Called the
trial
Blue
of
Fairy.
Harloff versus Macuga. Although I do want to
It'd
see
be a fun
Finstock
episode,
lawyer.
yeah. Go ahead, Alicia.
Okay, sorry,
Can I
Alicia.
speak?
Sorry.
In comedy, which comedy will you find the bumper sticker "I Heart Uranus"?
I think I know this.
Nah, those girls are easy.
Not on the back of Ford Fusion.
Spaceballs.
Yeah.
Okay, rom-com.
Where the space falls.
I was gonna say Real Genius. Anyway, go ahead.
Rom-com. Which actress did not appear in He's Just Not That Into You? Was it Marlon Ackerman, Jennifer Aniston, Drew Barrymore, or Scarlett Johansson?
Scarlett Johansson. Really?
She's in it. Yeah, Marlon Ackerman.
Damn Malin Anchorman. Yeah, he's got one more question in the first
sorry.
round. He's also got a horror question.
Horror.
Yeah.
Which franchise sees a demon named Toby terrorizing a family?
Finally, a point. Paranormal Activity.
Yeah.
Ah, there he goes. Toby, also known as the Blue Fairy. All right, boys. It is now round 2, and I believe Christian is trailing 3-2. Is that right, Kenny?
3-1.
3-1.
You only have one in the whole? Oh, okay. All right. Go ahead, and we're going to have Macuga pick first.
This is tense.
He's picking the categories.
It all comes down to the categories.
Holiday movies.
No, we did that. Was last.
Yeah, holiday movies is not one of the contenders.
No.
So you get to pick. And if you don't like this category, you can obviously throw it away too.
Okay, scores and sound. Nope.
Scores and soundtracks he's throwing away. You can put scores and soundtracks back in the bag though.
Sorry, yeah, put that in there. Back to holiday movies.
What?
How many holiday movies do we have in there?
Well, did you do? That was Jewish holiday movies. So okay. Slapstick spoof.
Slapstick spoof
There you go.
is what you're gonna get. All right, slapstick spoof.
And you can ask a schmuck.
Right. 4 questions.
In the film Airborne. No, I'm kidding.
I was like, that sounds.
Topper Harley is the main character in which spoof flick?
Hot Shots.
Very good. Give the man a point.
And part 2.
And part 2. What comedy team has met the Mummy, Dr. Jekyll, and Mr. Hyde?
The Monster Squad.
That is incorrect. Now, Christian Harloff can steal if he knows it.
Abbott and Costello.
Give him a point. He's right back in it. Big drop by Josh Macuga.
Damn.
In The Naked Gun 2.5, what singer stars as the conniving Quentin Habsburg?
Robert Goulet.
Give him a point.
Wow.
It's a tough one. That was a tough one. And finally, in the film Young Frankenstein, Gene Wilder plays Frederick Frankenstein. What is his relation to the mad scientist who experimented on reanimating corpses?
He's.
You have to use your use the extra Schmo.
Ask
Yeah,
Schmo, my bad.
Yeah.
I'll ask Mark.
He is the great grandson of Dr. Frankenstein.
That's incorrect.
That is incorrect. Yeah, it's his grandson. Yeah. Pretty strong.
Wow.
Pretty strong 3, but Christian did get a point out of that.
He did.
Christian did get a point out of that. Okay, Christian, you are
6-2.
now pulling. And Christian needs a good round here.
Get Star Wars.
Star Wars.
Oh no! It's
Okay, look. You're going to hate me for this.
They're gonna what?
You're going to hate me for this. We don't have Star Wars questions prepared on here, though.
What?
Now, here's what we can do. I know Star Wars like the back of my hand, and we can have Ken Knapsack come up here and administer.
I think Riley should come up too. Man knows Star Wars as well.
The man knows Star Wars as well.
I do. What was Bib Fortuna's grandfather's name? That's not even the question. Yeah.
This is.
Don't ask me
It's now this is one of the biggest pulls in the history of this show and the history of this tournament because he is losing 6-2 and he needs all 4 points and we know how much Christian loves.
It's like he's playing Georgetown. I'm Patrick Ewing and I fouled out with 10 minutes.
It's not really like that.
Okay, fine.
All right, Ken.
Shut up, Mark.
Yeah, Ken. Is Ken on?
Could you please name the Imperial officer who was the administrator of the second Death Star? I'll just accept the last name.
Nita.
That is incorrect.
Okay.
Can I have a chance to steal? Darth Vader.
That's incorrect.
Okay. Christian?
He's a character, right?
In The Empire Strikes Back, the gang eventually goes to Cloud City. What is another term for Cloud City?
Bespin.
That is correct. That is correct. Christian Harloff gets a point.
Can I have a chance to steal? Darth Vader.
Yes.
Okay.
You got more there?
Yeah, I do. I have one more. Okay, Christian. This is a tough one. What is the number of the cell block where Princess Leia is being held captive? And you do have an Ask a Schmo. You can ask either me or Alicia Malone.
Ken. Oh, I can ask Ken?
You can ask Ken.
Ken.
IG-88.
It's incorrect.
Oh my God.
That is correct. Yeah, it's cell block 1138.
Yeah.
Okay, and I will have to defer to Kenny for the last Star Wars question.
All right.
It cannot be from the show Rebels.
Yeah.
It has to be from the 3 movies, right?
There's six movies.
Right.
Ewoks Battle for Endor's.
The
deep breaths.
Sorry, I'm trying to actually get a good question here. That's fair and balanced. Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi had their first fight on what planet?
Mustafar.
That is correct.
Holy!
6-5.
Can I?
How did you know that? And how did you know that? Holy crap. It is now 6-5, and we got us a barn burner going in to the final category.
Woo!
Cody, I'm terrified that you're going to give him another category that we don't have questions for, but let's try it anyway. Go ahead.
We see the category, then we bet.
You see the category, and since Josh Macuga is winning, he does pick the category.
Holiday movies.
Probably.
Mob movies.
We do have mob movies. We do have mob movies.
It's 6-5, right?
It is 6-5, yes.
Ooh, could go either way.
All right, so you guys go ahead and write down, but you're not going to tell us. You're not going to tell us how much you are betting.
Feel the tension in the room.
Oh my God, this is like, I don't know if I've ever felt anything like this before
Woo.
in this tournament.
No, me neither.
Okay. In gangster movies, what actor starred opposite Marlon Brando in the mafia comedy The Freshman? What actor starred opposite Marlon Brando
Do you know that
in the mafia comedy The Freshman?
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to give you a... It looked like Kristian wrote down something. He
Yeah.
might have just written down Blue Fairy.
Yeah.
And then written down a suicide hotline. Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't look that happy.
Now, Josh Macuga looks a little more flustered.
I've never even heard of this movie.
Oh,
It's a good movie. It also has Bruno Kirby in it. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, put down your pens. It is time for the ultimate show. Wow. I've never seen two more unhappy contestants.
I know.
All we're trying to do is bring entertainment to these guys.
Maybe
and you
the
guys are acting like you're winning a scholarship for your kids.
Yeah. Well, I don't have kids, but I was winning a scholarship to Chili's.
Trust me, there's a couple young Macugas running around in there. Kristian, you are losing right now, so you are going to answer first. How many points did you bet?
5.
I like the balls on the rock / Christian Harloff. Your answer?
Matthew Broderick.
Give him the points!
Yay!
Give him the points!
Oh my God.
Give him the points!
I bet 6, Matthew Broderick. I've never even heard of the movie. I swear to God.
I do not believe
I swear to God.
what just happened here.
How would you get
Christian Harloff.
That blue fairy sucks my balls!
Upset. Christian Harloff
For meme, the blue fairy sucks my balls!
has lost to Josh Macuga amidst a whirlwind of controversy. Alicia, it is a firestorm here in the studio. Try to describe this scene for Schmoeville.
Just a lot of men screaming. But that's the usual.
Well, guess what?
With this.
Guess what? Can I make an announcement? Because Macuga just won, he doesn't get to go see Interstellar next week.
I have to send Cobster.
sees it now.
Interstellar. Can we push it another week so I can see it?
Just to spin this thing forward a little bit, Josh Macuga was going to be our correspondent for Schmoes Know at the Interstellar
Now
Press
it's
Junction.
Macuga versus Riley.
That's going to be next week
Championship.
in the finals.
Can I just-
Cobster
My God.
is getting promoted, and another thing, the Cobster.
Schmoes out.
And both the Schmoes are out, and everybody else, Schmoeville, is out. Nobody had this in their bracket.
Can
This
I say
is the
something real
exciting
quick?
thing about the
As
Ultimate
far
Showdown.
as you said, freshman and mobster comedy, and I was like, it's got to be from the 80s. Who ruled the 80s? Matthew Broderick. That was my only thought
It was
process.
actually made in 1990 or 1991, and it was kind of a spoof, but it took itself seriously of The Godfather, and Marlon Brando starred Matthew Broderick. And I cannot believe, maybe something about the fact that Matthew Broderick called in to Alicia's show Profiles with her and Scott Mance this week talking about John Hughes. Maybe that seeped in through osmosis.
And Riley's got the winner details.
Riley, you have the winner of the first of all, we gave away a Ripped Apparel shirt, and we also gave away one more Kingpin Blu-ray.
Yes. So let's do the last winner of the Kingpin Blu-ray.
Jete microphone.
Blue Fairy. Okay, so for the Jete movie quotes, this is very perfect on 2 levels. We got Kyle Graham who tweeted in, "You can't handle the booth."
Oh, that's good. That's really good and very descriptive of Jute's talent.
Yes, works on so many levels. And then winner of the Ripped Apparel shirt is Kirby Anderson at Kirby Anderson. They borrow the Dark Knight Returns story. I give it to DC.
Oh, okay. There you go. There you go. So thank you, Schmoeville, for participating in all the contests that we had tonight.
What an upset.
And the Ultimate Schmoedown. And Christian Harloff, I'm going to give you a chance here. If you want to try to start some controversy right now with the line of questions, then you can go ahead. But let it be known, you lost by 2 points tonight. That Blue Fairy question was only worth 1. And
However, it would have been a tie.
And the other fairies are known by different names. The only name that the Blue Fairy is known as in Pinocchio is the Blue Fairy, hence her moniker, the Blue Schmo fairy, not the blue one, which is what everybody calls the other fairies. There's a blue one, there's the green
You're
one.
saying I have a chance to retort, but you're
I'm just making a point. And you're sitting there, you're stewing a little bit because you lost. Look, I was sitting where you were. Okay, and I was wearing a very tight Devil's outfit. You're at least dressed comfortably.
And I also I jumped the gun. I don't want to take anything from Macuga. He won fair and square. But like I jumped the gun by saying Red Dawn. I should have.
It was a miss.
It was a miss. I should have said Red Heat. But the Blue Fairy, make a meme of it, can suck my balls. I hate the Blue Fairy.
Okay. You hate the Blue Fairy, but you don't hate the game.
No,
you don't hate Schmoeville.
I hate you right now.
You can hate me right now, but it's really not my fault that you lost this game.
The questions in the first round weren't great. From mine. I'm just saying.
They were tough.
You brought this up. You want to talk about it on the air? We talk about
Yeah, I know, but I'd like you to be fair about it because just because the questions weren't to your liking and to your skill set, I'd like everybody else's take on this. Alicia, how did you think the Schmoeville questions went in the first round?
They were tough questions for this round, definitely.
But do you think that the Blue Fairy thing could have been any, like the fact that there are 3 Blue Fairies in Disney?
I don't know Disney well enough to comment.
All right, it doesn't matter. I don't want to take away from Macuga. It was a great win. It was a big win, and I'm actually I'm super happy that he was able to do it because I love this guy. I'm glad that he won.
Now we have Josh Macuga facing against Mark Riley
how are you gonna go,
in the final round. How are you going to do this?
I honestly, back to I'm a 12 seed going against a 1 seed at this point. I'm the Cinderella story, though I know nothing about Cinderella.
Kristian knows a little bit.
I came in, I figured I'd go big or go home with my tux. I always bring the tux for a one-night stand.
He just hit a 3 from the bathroom.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what happened.
You game 6, Kristian, basically. Yeah. That was a Ray Allen shot from the corner getting Matthew Broderick.
It's like the Steelers ran out of quarterbacks. They're like, if you're sitting in A13, and I'm like, I'm sitting in A13. Let me throw a pass.
I can't imagine him pulling something like Matthew Broderick out of his butt next week. But Alicia, do you think he has a chance going up against Mark Riley?
Who knows now? I mean, Mark Riley's the encyclopedia of film trivia. He knows everything, and he knew all those questions.
He knew every one of them.
He knew all of them. So I think it'll be Riley, but you never know. Some crazy upset could happen again.
Well, it's going to be a long week for Mark Riley and for Josh Macuga because they have to think about their competitor next Thursday right here.
And make sure you check on schmozo.com in like a week or two for Copster's review of Interstellar.
Yeah, and I'll be in Interstellar as well. So me and Copster will share the popcorn because I'll be there too.
That's right. Copster gets to see Interstellar. Mark Riley gets to go against Josh Macuga in the ultimate Schmoedown. It's going to be a long week for everybody, none longer than me because Kristian probably won't talk to me until this time next week on the Schmoes Movie Show on schmoes.com. We want to thank everybody for joining us here today. First of all, how about a huge hand for all of our guests today?
Yeah, good work.
Stephaune and Adam and Matt.
Adam Gertler.
And we want you guys to subscribe, and you need to resubscribe to the iTunes feed, I believe,
not for here. Just to comment because we are about 630 or 640 comments and likes. There's so many of you guys that are watching either live or even watching on YouTube. Comment and like and rate on iTunes because it really helps the show.
Yeah,
iTunes.
Please do.
Yeah.
For Josh Macuga, the winner. For Christian Harloff, the controversial yet nonetheless loser in the Final Four. For Ken Knapsack. For Brando. For Cody. For Cobster. For Mark Riley. For Jete in the back. That's Alicia Malone. Catch her at Alicia Malone. I'm Mark Ellis at 5150 Ellis. It's at Schmoes Know. And thank you guys for watching. Kristian, you just want to yell to the top of your lungs? Aim it at the Blue Fairy.
At least I made it to the 3rd round.
Peace out, Mother F's.
Bye.
Little roller behind the bag. It gets through Harloff. Here comes Macuga, and the Mets win it. From producers Christian Harloff, Mark Ellis, the Blue Fairy, and the entire Schmoes Know crew, we'd like you to thank you for listening to the Schmoes Know Movie Show. Promotional consideration provided by the following: Dollar Shave Club, Ripped Apparel, and schmoesknow.com. Special thanks to Kevin Undergaro and Maria Menounos, the author of Every Girl's Guide to Diet and Fitness, in stores now. To watch or listen to other Schmoes episodes, get movie news, and join the conversation, be sure to visit schmoesknow.com. I'm the Pit Boss, and this has been a presentation of Schmoes Know.